Joel, how you doing?
You brought your snacks for today?
This, it's college.
I'm gonna ask to move him up. Where's he at?
It's strawberry lemonade flavor.
I should have gotten him. Here.
Nice.
You
I should have gotten Sue's not here.
I figured you'd probably get that.
Well, he reached out to me. It's his wife's birthday.
Oh, you had all.
So he's stuck here, so. We'll make it quick, maybe.
Nope,
No problem.
All these are.
that's going to be quick. 1 hour. He's not on here yet.
I have a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. Let's call this first meeting of the calendar year 2026 to order with our new council members. 6 o'clock, we'll do this with a roll call.
Julie Weeks. Here. AJ Schrumpfer.
Here.
Joel Newman.
Here.
Russ.
Here.
Craig Conley. Hey, Craig is not here. Absent.
All right, perfect. Typically, the first step here would be the approval of the agenda, but I just wanted to take a second. For those that haven't heard, Gary Halverson passed away on Friday. He served as our mayor here for 18 years. And so we're grateful for his service here in Slater. He's obviously grew up his whole life here, so we're grateful for him. He'll definitely be missed and was a big part of this community and helped shape and form what this community is today. So we're in debt to him for that. And sad to hear that news about his loss. So now we'll do an approval of the agenda here. The approval of the agenda, I'm gonna ask a favor. I didn't get to this because I was traveling, but Kyle had asked me if he could go earlier. In the business items, he's graciously come in to talk about some quotes he provided us. So if we could approve the agenda, but move that to business item A, that would be awesome.
It'd be M, it's currently M.
It's currently M and we'd be moving it to A. And there's Craig, he's here now too.
Yep.
Perfect. So I'll take someone to a motion with that adjustment.
Second.
A second, all right, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay. Citizens Forum, is there anybody here that's signed up to speak? This is a 3-minute window here for any resident comment.
We've had EMS come to the house again. And there we're looking for the other 107. Is there a way of changing house numbers so that people from out of town can find the right house? We've had sheriff and we've had EMS and
North.
Menards and people come to the wrong house. And I can only assume it's happened on other places on the north side of Maine.
Is one, is 107.
Yeah, and there's another 107, there's a 107. And then there's a north, 107 north is what you're talking about. I don't know the answer to that. That would probably involve renumbering every house, wouldn't it?
Yeah, usually the addressing comes about when you apply for a building permit. And where you take access to the street right away is where your number is gonna fall in line in the grid. But it's, what we can do is communicate with Story County Dispatch and let them know that there is a difference. There's a north and a south Brenton. street,
Benton,
right?
yeah, Benton, yeah.
Which might help.
We have down the north side, doesn't it?
Well,
Benton.
north of Maine, it's north, and then south of Maine, it's
That's
south.
Rega.
Benton isn't the only street that has.
No, it's the same, yeah, on every,
We can reach
I
out.
think it's the same on every street.
So it's North Benton and just Benton, right?
That's
So
correct.
north and south is just north and then Benton. That's why I get confused.
Yeah,
Good.
so if
We
they're,
contacted dispatch.
Send an email.
Well. It was an EMS that came.
I'll pass it on.
Okay.
But if we're not in town, then.
I know looking at our computer aided dispatch, I don't. Just with geographically how it's set up, I don't. Way we can change it unless there's. The chat's probably familiar with it. You're gonna have to pull up a note and basically all the notes gonna say is. Insurance, the north or just Benton.
I mean, it was
Probably the only I could provide.
Pops up on Apple Maps.
it just was navigated to the wrong.
Then the ambulance was stopping in our house too.
I'll pass it on.
Thank you for pointing it out. I think a dispatch note too would be good, just to,
For dispatch.
so they clarify that.
107.
Yeah, that's just the example, but we'd have norths and,
Well, what's the
Taylor
specific address?
Marshall.
This-
But it's gonna be all the north-south roads. It'll have some type of addressing like that.
okay, anyone else? All right. Hearing none, we will move into our consent agenda. Is there questions from the council about items on the consent agenda?
Taylor, Craig, couple
Yep.
questions. Is my voice coming through all right?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, thanks.
got it.
Just looking at the claims report. The third one down, air and apparatus solution. Couple $1,000, what is that?
Repairs to truck one move for the fire department.
There you go.
Repairs to 112, truck 112 at the fire department, AJ
Okay.
said.
All right, and about 10 lines down on the skid loader. I thought our skid loader is pretty new. There's $5,000 on that. What's up with the skid loader?
I think it was labeled, it just has a label off. I asked Mark about that today. That is the auger. Not a repair.
The auger is in post hole?
Correct. It fits the skid loader and the mini excavator.
And it's a repair or a purchase?
Purchase, brand new.
Okay. All right. And about halfway down the page, 43,000 for Hyman compressor maintenance.
Do you know what
Cascade
that,
system for the fire department, the CIP item.
that is the Cascade.
Yes, yeah, it's not maintenance.
Okay, it's the Cascades. That's the purchase of the Cascade system.
Okay, that's what I thought. We bought one, but I didn't. This is maintenance, so I was confused.
Yeah, there's just a couple labels on that. I think that were off. Craig, I noticed that as well.
Okay. All right, that's what I had. Thank you.
You got it. The other one that's on there too was there was another one that said maintenance or something, and that was the snow pusher.
Oh,
Was another one on there.
On the van wall.
Yeah, the Van Wall invoice was for the actual, that skid loader blade we approved earlier.
Oh, it says plywood.
Yep. Is that multi-pivot one? Okay. Any other questions about, or changes to the consent agenda we have here?
Minor one again, Taylor, the $15,000 for the replacing the horse swings. That's just replacing the swings with newer, better swings.
Yes.
It's replacing the swings. I would like to see some more creative options, but this is what Park and Rec has brought forward. They are those, it's a baby swing, it looks like, or an infant toddler type swing. And then a swing with me swing, which is like a toddler swing that a parent can stand on as well. I was hoping for something a little closer to what the horses were, but that's what I'm told it is. Amy, do you have any? Amy's here from Park and Rec.
Yeah, we just let Ben take the lead on that.
Yeah.
He's got experience with it in Ankeny and what's popular. And those are the swings that he
He recommended. Okay. All right. Does that answer the question, Craig?
Yep.
All right. I'd take a motion to approve the consent agenda if the council's moved. So moved.
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Any last minute discussion there? Okay. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay. Presentations, reports, department updates. We have the sheriff's office here. We'll let them go. And any questions or comment for the sheriff's office? Concerns? That anybody has for him? No, anything from your perspective?
Phone's always on, so.
Okay,
So,
all right, nothing out of the norm of their calls or anything?
no, there's just normal calls. There's nothing,
Yeah,
community wide that needs to be concerned,
starting, okay,
in home stuff. So,
perfect.
kind of a- I would say a low point right now, but it would change.
Yeah. And how, staffing's good? Did I remember sheriff?
Staffing.
Yeah, were you guys adding a deputy or two?
We have. We're hiring for. So
Okay,
there's no budgetary concern, filling a vacancy for. Lieutenant Ellis retired.
yeah, okay,
Um. They're in the middle of interviews now, so
okay,
that could
cool.
be 2-3 month process, depending if they're certified or not.
Okay, and when do you expect Deputy Lentz back?
You won't be going, don't you?
No, I don't at all. But you guys usually tag team, right? Like, you guys tag team Slater mostly.
Without getting into his medical stuff. Like, months.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's a long recovery.
He's out for a bit.
Yeah. I knew, I just couldn't remember. It's been a few, so cool.
Yeah, he'll be, I think he can stand. I don't think would be any issues with him.
He doesn't have to come here right, by any means to report. He's local, he lives in the district and I know he's been out.
So he's actually up front with a different, like, collateral duty right now.
Okay.
For light duty.
He's doing some different stuff.
But
Okay.
he said, he needs a fill in for me for these, he can come down.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
Drop it days, so,
Perfect.
yeah.
No, we appreciate you. It's not
Yeah.
about replacing you.
I was joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need anything, just call or email and
Perfect. Well, we appreciate it.
we can get back to you guys whenever.
Awesome. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you. See you guys.
See ya. Jerry, go ahead.
Yeah, just want to say welcome to the new council members. Looking forward to working with you and the current city council and the mayor on all the many items that'll be before us in 26. Quick update on the work program we started in July of last year. It's pretty much things that are special projects outside of our normal daily activities. And about 8 of those things have been completed. A couple of them are on the agenda for tonight, which is the pool and the general employee handbooks. Thank you to Chad for his work on the email addresses and getting the updates to Microsoft Office 365. Investment policy, purchasing policy. We've got 9 things that we've started and 6 of the items which are separate are a part of the CIP currently. And we're working on a list for the next 6 months and we'll have some information for you at the February meeting. Thank you to department heads, the policy and admin committee and city hall staff for all the work that went into putting the review input on the pool and the general handbook. It's a lot of work going through those, but it's gonna provide dividends for the departments and for the city long term. So thank you for all that work. We've got a full agenda, as you can see, setting a new date and time for city council meetings. We've identified all the holidays for 26. The mayor's appointment of mayor pro tem, liaison assignments. You're gonna appoint city clerk and city administrator, which is part of the city's code of ordinances. We've got a few public hearings for the Severs Industrial Park plat. We're gonna be adding or request to add tax abatement. We've got a few ordinance amendments, which is the first consideration, and then water and sewer rates. In addition to requested salary ranges for city positions. I'll be providing an update at when the item comes up for solid waste and recycling. Just some information to share with the city council, and we're gonna be asking for some direction there in both areas. And then we did accept on behalf of the city this award, which is the Community Impact Award. The Ames Regional Economic Alliance provided this award to the city of Slater for the Trailside Sports Complex. There were 6 total recipients in this particular category. But all thanks go to Julie and Craig Weeks for the donation of that sports complex, 18-acre property. And so without their generous support and community support and vision, it wouldn't have been a reality. So I actually accepted on behalf of the mayor who planned to go but had an issue with the
Funeral,
family.
yeah.
So this is the beautiful award, and this was all the recipients for some of the other awards.
Yeah, nice. That's very nice.
Thank you.
I would just briefly share, we still have not heard back from the school. I know they have a school board meeting tonight about the Nighthawk Field and that agreement. And getting a new agreement in place to replace the one that's expired. So continuing to follow up and wait for response back there. Hopefully they'll talk about that tonight. And then secondly, we had a meeting today with a hopefully promising opportunity for a new business to come to town in the food service industry. And so we're going to Jerry and team is doing a little back end work to see if we can't work something out to submit some options or proposals over to them. So that they could consider selecting Slater to move to open their restaurant. So stand by for more news on that, but we're working behind the scenes on that. They have some targeted locations and wants. And so we're doing the back end work to see if we can pull that together and make it possible. Outside of that, I'd say it's obvious with the way the agenda is, that Lindsay and Jerry are in their stride. I admittedly have not been around here as much or been involved in nearly as much now that we have the staff. So I'm appreciative of what you guys are doing and getting a lot of these things tackled that we put on the work program and that were priorities of ours and the last councils. So thank you. Council, any updates?
I think so.
Did you want to share the update that you have regarding the library community center discussions that you and Jen have had?
Yeah, just that Jen, the library director, and I have been kind of working on the possibility of potentially doing an addition to the existing building. With the current most recent vote from the general public of denial to potentially use local option sales tax dollars to pay on community debt, we really kind of started over from scratch. And as I said, Jen and I have just been meeting and trying to, work out whether or not there would be a possibility of just doing an addition compared to maybe new construction, or at least having the addition, being able to use that to compare to a new construction project. And we also sat down last week with the architect, FEH, who was involved in the library design early on, and they provided some sketches. So, but the intent is that we put together some information for like a work group. We're gonna reach out to 5 to 7 representatives from the community, from the library friends group, I think from the schools, and try to get some input to a point where we can get a recommendation to bring back to city council. We'd like to have that for the next meeting in February. So that's the
Okay.
plan.
All right. Business items. We moved M up, so let's jump right into the M, the discussions, consideration of the entrance trail and wayfinding sign quotes. Kyle here is local resident, obviously, Signorama employee, and he's worked close with Jerry, the community visioning documents to do some more hands-on quoting and stuff for us. So Kyle, I know we have the quotes in front of us, and I know Kyle's brought some of this in. We talked about entrance signs at one point a little bit. I think Kyle's given us a couple options. The trail and wayfinding signs remain to be the same signs that we looked at before. This new council was elected, the old council, but this is kind of the new entry, would be a potential new entry sign for the 4 entrances of Slater. We're fortunate because when these were done, these were kind of poured concrete, stamped brick columns, so it's somewhat simplistic in the sense that we're just essentially replacing the board that goes between the two of them. Kyle, do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so basically, you try to utilize what we already have, because there's no point to do any more brickwork, and essentially just taking down the wood panel that's currently what the sign is and replacing it with aluminum that we can screen print to make it look like wood, so it's metal, so it's gonna stand the test of time. And then you can see like the welcome to Slater part that will be illuminated, as it shines through the night.
You see it, guys?
And then the flip side is option A, where it's just front lit, just like that, versus option B, if you guys flip it around. It's kind of like a little way of making it a little bit fancier, but it would still shine white through the front side, and then on the back side, it'd have like a blue glow behind the welcome to Slater part. Just a fancier way of lighting. So just something to make it pop a little bit more. But, and difference between the two, I think there's like a $600 difference between the two signs, 2 different versions. So.
Flip it back the other way.
Yep. Do we have the power thing figured out?
That is to be determined. I did look into finding some solar options. It is possible. I just have never done it before.
Okay.
So we've done solar spotlights before, and all we have to do is just find a solar version of powering 120 volt. So it's not, we're only powering LEDs, so it's not
A lot.
it's not a lot by any means. So
Okay. Perfect.
So these signs are meant to be lit, but we have no way to light them.
They'll be meant to be lit, but the question was, there's not power to all those, to the specific sign base or anything. So what solar option would we utilize? I think it's just
Like, I
connecting
think of,
the
like-
mechanism.
like the north side and the east and west would be your ones I'd be the most concerned about, just because there's not much out there. So.
Yeah.
But southwise, there's roads right there. It wouldn't be that much farther to tunnel or bore to get power to it. So. That part I don't know.
Yeah, that's the part we need to figure out. AJ, to answer your question. Nice. You guys have, did everybody see in the packet the rest of them? Craig, you probably couldn't see the big fold, that was brought in the sign, but did anybody have questions about the other signs that are in there?
Yeah, the others are red and blue.
And those are our wayfinding signs that were agreed to and approved already.
Was that not discussed ahead of Iowa Plains?
They said, no, we can't do it.
They said no.
I brought
They
those.
said no twice.
Yeah, they said no. I told Jerry to go back and again and check and.
I know that there's
It's not
not
what they
discussion
want.
to go back and ask again. Like,
Yep.
There'll be a no.
They told me no twice.
Okay.
I brought you guys some other options and samples of what it would look like when it was like front lit and back lit. Of just kind of how they would look. Real examples.
Yep. Awesome.
Trail.
You know, I think,
The two DOT signs that have to be.
Yeah, and
Or green.
well, like it's in my estimate, whatever you guys want them to be, it can change. That's just whatever you want it to be.
I think, the majority of the wayfinding signs in that could be kind of approved or moved forward, in my opinion. I think the question mark on the entry signs would just be, it would be probably be nice to pin down what the solar option is and the cost associated with it. To pull the trigger on that.
It's just a little thing, the numbers shift over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To keep them in a straight line, yeah. Did you hear that? This,
Just
On
the
that-
mile number,
Oh,
move over to underneath 0.5. Looks a lot better.
Sure.
But yeah, that's.
I don't know when we put the entry signs in, but they could certainly use an update, in my opinion. We can pin down the power source and understand the cost associated with that.
yeah, honestly, I was great. Try to be as cheap as possible right off the
Yeah.
get-go and see what would work, but,
Yeah,
yeah.
If we can't get power to them, would we change the sign or would we just still use the same sign without power?
You can just use the same sign without power, just light up at night, so it's not like.
But it wouldn't change, the price or anything, it'd be the same sign.
You're talking about just LEDs and power supplies and the small signs, so maybe like $300 to $400. Just power and LEDs. So, there's not a, signs aren't that big anyways.
I think we should figure out how to light them. Within reason, right? Within reason, I think.
Okay.
Well, what's production time really on something like this?
3 weeks to fabricate for most of the stuff here.
I'll do whatever you guys, I'm game for whatever you guys think
I
is the
think-
best direction.
Light them and put the backlight blue light on them, great.
For
For $600 more,
Yeah.
it's a no brainer. Especially when we're dealing with budgets of
Why I
3 million.
brought it to the table.
This should be later than awesome.
Yeah, budget amendment, you said.
So how can we approve this tonight? Just need a motion to approve this quote.
Yep, to move forward with the production and approval of it.
Make a motion to approve this quote, the one more expensive one, whichever one that was with the backlights. Is it A? No. A.
Option B.
Absolutely. Option B.
Okay, B, yep.
I second.
Any other discussion? Craig, are you tracking with all this?
Yep, I'm good, adding the signs and agree with Joel. If we can get them lit, that would be far superior.
All right. Having two motions, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstentions? Kyle, thank you for all your work on that. We appreciate it very much. Well, give your wife, her happy birthday wishes. Thanks for coming in on that night.
I little kiss me.
Oh, it's your birthday? Why did I think it was your wife? Sorry, Kyle. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thanks guys, appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah, happy birthday.
You want,
Thank
you
you.
want this to remind you to move those?
No, I got it all.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks. Happy birthday. Okay. Item A,
Sit here.
discussion and consideration of resolution 30, changing the city council meeting date. This was kind of a request I had so that we wouldn't overlap on the school board meeting nights, so that we could attend some of those. We'll be able to attend those when we had business that made sense to attend. I think Jerry and team have tried to propose something.
Also in that resolution is to have the February meeting on the 17th, because the 16th is a holiday.
Were we moving those to Tuesday? I thought.
We talked about that, but there was conflicts, I think, with that.
Okay.
And then I pushed back again on Lindsay and Jerry and said, are you sure you don't want to go to Tuesday to have a Monday to work and gather
Right.
things? And they said, it's fine, it's fine.
So what is?
Mondays work better.
Monday.
So.
So the proposed,
Except for February is the 17th, so that would be Tuesday.
there's some caveats.
The March meeting to meet state requirements on the budget with 20th,
So we'll have a meeting
the 23rd, excuse me.
Tuesday, February 17th
There you go.
because of
President's Day.
President's Day. Then we'll meet, March 23rd. And then going forward, it'll be the third Monday of the month.
Right, and March 23 is to take action on the levy, property tax levy.
There's some budget meetings that will be in there.
Yep.
And if there's the potential that if the business we met with is on a tight timeline, so there's the potential we could call a special meeting to try to meet that timeline for them if it works out. But we would communicate that ahead of time and publish all that according to the laws. Any questions about this adjustment? Any
Is that forever the third meeting of the month?
third week of the month will be the new official meeting date,
Starting in
third Monday, starting in March.
Okay.
Right, because March 23rd is is everyone cool with that? Yep.
I'll defer to the employed people. So whatever they think is best for their schedules, I would request that we either Jerry or Lindsay send out, now that we're all in the common platform, for email, that they send out meeting invites so that they automatically get in our schedule. So if there's any adjustments, we can compensate.
Calendar invites, yep, agree. All right. I'll take a motion to approve it if you guys are good.
Motion to approve. Second.
No other comment? All right, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstentions? Item B, discussion and consideration of resolution 31, establishing the official city of Slater holidays for 2026. Jerry and Lindsay pulled these together. I asked if there's any holidays we're missing that they've seen at other cities or any holidays that we should add that we're not currently observing. They said, no, this is standard and what they recommended. Does anybody have any concerns about the recommended holidays?
Motion to approve resolution 31.
Perfect.
Second.
Second from Russ. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay. Are you good, Lindsay? Are you
Yep.
tracking? Item C, discussion and consideration of appointment, including mayor pro tem, liaison assignments, and establishing a policy and administrative committee. With the last council, we tried to create a policy and administrative committee, and there was a little bit of pushback or hesitancy at that time. I'd like to bring that back up. The goal here, right, is that it's just like somewhat Park and Rec, a recommending body for those internal type policies and things. I would ask for two people potentially, if the council's supportive of this, that are the designated participants. Obviously, others could attend if the topic was, of that much interest, or it could be put onto a council agenda, but anything that committee does will have to be in front of this council for a final approval. Jerry and Lindsay won't put a policy in place without bringing it here to the council from that organization or group. So we'll know about that. It's just pinning two people down and getting some set times when those meetings will be. And then that also dovetails into Jerry's kind of request and layout of liaison assignments. A liaison assignment is effectively a council member that commits to being the liaison to those boards or commissions that we have that volunteer and spend time doing those things. Is there questions about those items or discussion related to them on that?
Taylor, Craig, my only concern is as long as the policy and admin committee is open for any of the council members to join, then yes. That way, if someone feels strongly they can participate in the original writing and original review instead of just the final at the council meeting.
Well, I would just, yeah. How about how about you raise your hand for that committee, Craig, and then that solves that. Unless others have concerns.
Well, I guess again, in the vein of who feels really strongly about things, if there's one I don't particularly feel strongly about, I guess then somebody that does feel strongly would be a better candidate than myself. So that was the original objection, I think, from the council last year, was it was the people who are most vested or most interested should be at that particular topic.
Yeah.
Rather than just assignment.
I think Jerry and staff's request is to have 2 dedicated people that they know can be and will be at those. But council, it's ultimately within your authority.
Part of the questions that came up during that time period was how soon would we be notified? And I responded that you would get notice at least a week before we were gonna meet, and then preferably at least a 2-week notice.
Well, how many have you had meetings so far?
There's been a handful.
And how many
All the
times have
policies.
you had more than 2 council members attend?
Never. Usually it's 2.
Does anybody here have a particular interest in being on something like that? I know Craig does, obviously, but is there any of the you 4 that has a particular interest in one?
In one of the.
In being on the policy and just the policy.
Anything involving policies or maybe ordinance amendments, so anything that's in the city's code of ordinances where we're looking at amending it.
I have an interest in that.
Okay,
If needed.
I'm not hearing fighting for it. So do you want to establish that and have 2 contacts, Craig and Julie, to start, and then others, obviously, if there's a topic, but keep in mind, this is just the people that are doing the legwork behind the scenes. The formal policy will be dictated here.
Okay, Taylor.
You're good there? Okay, how about liaison assignments? Is there interest on specific library, Joel? Fire, AJ?
P&D as well.
Got it.
B and Z, AJ?
You 2 for economic, Russ and Julie?
Possibly do cemetery. I saw cemetery on there, right?
Cemetery? You wanna do that one too?
I know Nathan. I can just talk to him and get the load out. If there's anything major I can show off.
Craig, do you have specific boards or commissions on that list that you'd want to be set kind of as the counted on liaison?
Economic development I'm interested in, but I think you already said somebody.
Russ.
Board of Adjustment. I'm interested.
You're innocent.
They were
We have
both
multiple. I'm not familiar with the Story County Economic Development Liaison.
So that one you have to appoint. Yeah.
Okay,
So we have
okay.
Yeah.
Park and Rec and EMS and
So
BLA.
you're missing Park and Rec
Park and Rec, EMS
and Board of
and
Adjustment.
BLA. Mhm.
I can do whatever the elected council doesn't want. I'm happy to do.
And here's your mayor pro tem.
Be a mayor or be a Park and Rec. It's fine with me.
And
Board of
Lindsay, I can take one also. I may not want to be on it, but doing my civic duty.
You're at EMS.
Is there a conflict out of curiosity for like the economic, if you got council members that are already members of that or not?
They won't be members of it. They'll be removed. Yep.
Yeah, you can't be a member if you're.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like, because people saying they
Yeah.
want interested in it.
So Craig, can we put you on Board of Adjustment?
I got kicked off the library board.
That would be on an as needed basis, essentially, I think, is when Board of Adjustment meets. It's not a standard standing meeting.
Sure, I don't even know what they're responsible for, so I'll ignorantly say yes.
Perfect. It's not a frequent situation. What's
Okay.
that?
One for EMS.
And then we would need an EMS liaison.
Can't promise it won't be a hostile environment.
Wow.
Who are you guys?
And then Mayor Burton.
It'd be hostile to have one of us there. Or,
From
You're
the,
more than welcome to come join.
it's the big, I
I'm not,
no, I just wanna
don't
understand.
know what
yes,
building thing.
Howard, Taylor already knows where I stand now, so yeah.
On what? The liaison?
Well, no, I'm on. You can come
He's
to
talking
me
about
and talk about
project.
this, so.
Yeah,
So we have a volunteer.
that would be me, it sounds like. Thanks, guys. No, I'm happy to. Chad's group's
Taylor, got it.
fair. I mean, they're not. Their job is to be critical of what the decisions we make to challenge us to be better.
Taylor.
Perfect.
The mayor pro tem is usually the upstanding council member that's been a council member for a long time.
I appreciate that,
And that
Alan.
would be Joel.
I appreciate
But
that,
you're
but I'm
saying-
actually,
You're gonna.
Alan,
Yeah.
Alan. It's not that's not really your place to say who is or isn't the mayor pro tem. Per the city code, the mayor pro tem gets to be selected by me, okay? No, and I am, for my mayor pro tem, I'd like to, appoint AJ Strumpfer as my mayor pro tem. Okay, we've gone through some appointments, some liaisons. What questions or discussion are based on what we just went through?
We get a updated copy of all of that.
Yeah, and can we going forward, now that we all are on the same email, can we make sure that we get Outlook calendar invites for when these meetings
Yep.
occur and will occur?
I'm on top of that.
All right, outstanding. I think that's helpful for all of us.
If you need another one for Park and Rec or Library, if those aren't filled in, you know, I'd be glad to.
Okay,
Oh, come on, cemetery too.
all right.
No,
I don't want to be there for long.
nothing.
Whatever.
All righty. So we've talked about those. Is there a motion? Do I have a motion to establish? Well, we already have the policy and administration committee, don't we? Technically established, it's just the appointment. Yeah, so a motion to approve the appointments.
Moved.
Joel.
Second, anybody?
That was-
Second.
AJ first, Russ second. Any more discussion on it?
Nope.
All right, hearing no more discussion and having two motions, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstentions? Perfect. Moving to number D, discussion and consideration resolution 32, appointing Lindsay Siegel as the city clerk. Jerry, can you just provide some oversight? I know you worked with the attorney on some code changes, and this was one where they recommended we make this appointment on an annual basis, or?
Well, it's
No.
it's currently in the city's code of ordinances to appoint a city clerk and a city administrator at the first meeting in January.
Every 2
Okay.
years.
Is currently what it
Currently.
says.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 32.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions. Resolution 33, appointing Jerry Moore as city administrator.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution
Second.
number 3.
Thanks, Chad. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Moving to discussion consideration appointment to the Polk County 911 Board. I sit on the Story County 911 Board. So I suppose you guys want me to sit on the Polk County 911 Board?
If there's someone on it at the moment.
No, it's not something that my predecessor sat on, I don't think. I know John did a good job of getting on a lot of these committees or attending in the county level, but Polk County wasn't on I don't think one that we were regularly attending. I have not been to one. I get emails from them. I understand it's because as we're in their service, they're part of Polk County's in our service area that they want us participating. So I would be happy to be
If you
the
don't
primary.
want that, I'm okay with that. Just,
Yeah,
I wouldn't feel bad.
I appreciate that. I'll do that. Chad, I think you're the backup for Story County, aren't you?
Yeah.
You wanna be the back, do either you or Brant wanna be the backup for Polk County? Brant?
Oh.
Watch.
AJ?
Wow.
AJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can be a backup.
All right.
that's fine.
I'm not gonna be able to attend the Polk County 911 board meeting.
See, it's a good thing.
All those in,
Right into that.
all those in,
Okay, rookie.
can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Good job, Ivy.
Opposed? All right, discussion and consideration of the appointment to the Story County Economic Development Group. Jerry, can you tell me about this one?
Yeah, for the most part, I think I'm the liaison, but they're looking for
An official?
somebody, yeah, an official representative, and I just didn't want to assume that you wanted me to be that person, but I certainly
Oh,
will.
I make the.
I would love
You
for
gotta
you to
be-
be that
Make
person.
a motion to approve Jerry. Second.
Perfect. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect. Discussion and consideration of resolution 34, adopting the LoSAP for Slater Fire and EMS volunteers. And the fire and EMS department's guidelines. Questions about that or the guidelines with it? Are Julie and Russ, you feel like you're up to speed on what this is exactly?
Somewhat.
Yeah. It's essentially somewhat of an incentive type retirement plan created by the state of Iowa to provide some sort of very minimal in the grand scheme of things, financial
Retirement benefit
retirement benefit for firefighters who meet a minimum standard,
and EMS.
and EMS, and they meet the minimum standard.
You covered this at the last council meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
The last council
Did
approved
any
it.
of it change since then?
Well, there's a required resolution that needs to be adopted, and then each department, the fire department and the EMS put together like
Has
guidelines
some of the
that
points.
are gonna be the criteria that they're gonna evaluate all of the volunteers.
Taylor
So they
Craig.
have to meet the criteria to get the full benefit.
Okay, Craig.
I'm fully supportive of the program. I do think that if at all possible, we should have the same point system for the two departments. Chad and Brant may say that's impossible, so I guess I'll defer, but it seems like for just a commonality, they're already fairly close. It'd be great to just make them exactly the same, but if it can't be, then so be it.
Yeah, I went through extensive review with Todd on our pointing scale. Our departments are different. We run different calls. We have different call volume. All those things play into a different assessment schedule. That's my short answer. If you want to have a longer conversation, I'd be more than happy to show you my spreadsheets of what all I've ran for different algorithms and how it best serves the members as well as the community.
Did you hear all that?
Yeah, enough of it. Sounds like the paraphrasing sounds like he says there's good reason that they're different.
Yes. At least his research tells him that, so.
Okay. I'm in the KISS camp. We can keep it simple. That would be my preference, but if we can't, then so be it.
I thought you were on a riverboat cruise.
I am.
You're at KISS camp? All right. Motion to approve that, guys, or is there further discussion?
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And abstentions.
Staying.
Okay, moving to public hearing on setting water and sewer rate increases. We need to open the public hearing. It's 6:47. We're gonna go into open the public hearing for water and sewer rates, and we'll do that with a roll call.
Julie,
Aye.
AJ,
Here.
Joel,
Here.
Russ,
Yeah.
and Craig.
Here.
Okay, at the last city council meeting, the decision was made to make some adjustments to our water and sewer rates. Can you give a quick overview on that, Jerry?
At the last city council meeting, we had our financial, security advisor at the meeting. And she went through, what the current, rates are for water and sewer. And we had some pretty lively discussion about it. And I think, Mayor, you opened it up to getting input from the new council members as to which strategy they would recommend in addition to the existing council members who were serving, but were gonna be ending their service. This was their last meeting. And so what was supported was to increase water rates to $14.11 for the first 100 cubic feet. And then for over 100 cubic feet, the rate is $5.28.
Was what? I'm sorry.
$14.11 for the first 100 cubic feet. And then over that, it's $5.28. That's for water. And then sewer, the new rate would be $51.75. And for the first 100 cubic feet, and $10.87 for the next additional over the 100 cubic feet. And this would be just the first consideration of this ordinance. State law says we have to consider ordinances at 3 separate meetings. The city council can waive though by 3/4 vote if they choose to do so. But this would be the first consideration of these new rate increases. Did you find it yet?
Yeah, I had it up. This came about a year ago when we were advised by the financial partner that we were out of compliance with our loan requirements or the covenants in our loans. And so we had to adjust because we weren't collecting enough on the sewer rates. And the water rates had not been adjusted for a while.
5 years.
At that same time, so it led to the discussion. We obviously in capital improvement planning have talked a lot about a new well or some sort of water improvements to be made at some point in the future for the water quality, so we need to plan for that as part of this as well on the water.
With the rate increase, I know that there was some debt service that was supposed to be paid. Is
Yeah.
that part of this or?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one.
So that was the two.
Well, this would just be us approving this really is just the rate increases. I believe the loan that we agreed to pay is in process to be paid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that how you recall it, Craig?
Yeah, I didn't remember if we'd formally decided. I definitely remember that was the recommendation. In that light, though, I think we also talked about a inflation adjustment on all these going forward. I don't know if it's supposed to be in this document or not. So that was my questions. Does an inflation adjustment need to be in this document for consideration for both water and sewer? Were we going to pay off a loan? So this does get us to the 110%. And if we pay off the loan, does this indeed get us to the 110%? So we're passing that 110% rule. So that was the 3 comments I had.
Yeah. That would be a question I would ask. I think we need to ask the attorney is, can you put an inflationary into the ordinance itself? This is a public hearing, so anybody here that would like to speak, will follow the 3-minute guideline again. And you're welcome to speak on the topic. Alan, you can speak.
Right now?
I saw you coming, yeah.
Gee, I feel so good. You're not gonna cut me off for 3 minutes?
3 minutes, Alan, it's all yours.
Tell you though.
I'm all ears.
Gone. Okay, I just took some rough notes here, but the person that you hired to tell you, you know, you can raise your water. Did she know that there's 80 or 90 meters that don't exist, that you're charging them for meters? And that's the one issue. The other issue is that people don't know this, but there's a lady that's a nurse in Ankeny. Her bill is $90, her water and sewer bill. 60 of it is connect fees. $60 is connect fees. the amount you pay for water is nothing. It's all these connect fees. And even the $50 now, you're gonna raise it to 51.75. Not only that, and I'll point you, and I'm cruising you, but you said you would reveal this in your water bill. These people don't know that they're paying connect fees that have nothing to do with the water. $50, that should be, and you said you would fix that. You haven't. The water bill, that's all covered up in it. They don't know that. So can you promise me that you're gonna, in the water bills, you're gonna say it's gonna be $51.75, which essentially is gonna go to pay for Severs's, indirectly it is, you know, you're ripping us off, and you're charging me for 4 meters. I only have one. You look at here, you look at your clock, aren't you? I only have
That's 2
one
minutes.
meter. I pay $160 overcharge every month, and you add that up for 10 years. Thousands of dollars I've paid for no services, and it's easy to do. And if I don't want to pay it, you'll cut my water off. Now, something's wrong here, Taylor, and you and the new council members can fix that. I'm sorry.
I understand, Alan. Our water bills, I have to pull one up. I'm on auto pay. I don't ever look at it admittedly, but does it not designate what I can't remember what our ordinance calls it. It doesn't call it connect fees. I don't think is what it calls it.
We've laundered
It's a
that.
service. It's a service charge, right? It's a minimum service charge.
Yeah, it's like,
Per address, believe me. So it doesn't matter if it's the way it's called out in the code ordinance says it has
It's
nothing
the-
to do with the water bill.
It's defined as, yeah, a unit. Yep. But it doesn't separate on the actual water bill itself.
no,
And does that programming allow for that?
I can see.
Okay. Alan, we're gonna see if the program can separate the minimum and then the charge out on the side if you want. We'll ask. But I've now going into year 3. Admittedly, Alan, you're the only person that's ever complained about this to me.
Is that good or bad?
Well,
Had to do math.
I think it's good that you come and practice, your civic duty and participate, but I think it tells me that there's not a lot of people frustrated by what you're saying.
It's your clue.
You know
So,
why? I know
Well-
why.
well, I don't know. I don't know the exact answer to that, Alan, but what I do know is if they were upset by it, they'd be here. Because we've seen that happen on other issues, and so it's not an issue, and it is all public, Alan. It's in ordinances and all those things. So nothing we're trying to do is deceitful, and it's not I want water to be free for everybody if we can figure that out.
Well, Halverson just.
I just don't see it,
Okay, if you've
so.
been here when Halverson was mayor, we were here then.
Yep.
We protested it in numbers. Nothing happened. So that's why they're not back. They've
Okay.
already been through that.
All right. I appreciate your public comment. Is there any other public comment? All right, it's 6:56. Let's close the public hearing. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Second, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? We're gonna go back into our regular council meeting and we'll have to do a roll call to do that.
Julie,
Hi.
AJ,
Right.
Joel,
Here.
Russ.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes,
Okay. Discussion and consideration ordinance 313, adopting new water and sewer rate increases.
First consideration.
This is the first consideration of that ordinance. Any more comment on that? I think we talked about it. Lindsay, I think we have a couple things to clarify, Jerry, for the council. And I believe on this issue, we don't really need there's no motion because we're in the first consideration, correct?
Yeah, you need to.
you do need a motion.
First.
You do want a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 313, first reading.
Second.
These are the rates.
Second, okay.
You can't waive.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
aye,
Opposed? And any abstention? Okay, public hearing on proposal to enter into a First Amendment to the agreement for private development with Jism Inc. This is amending the development agreement to put the language in there to allow for the tax abatement at the light industrial park or the industrial park. So we're going to open that public hearing. It's 6:58. We'll do a roll call to open the public hearing.
Julie,
Here,
AJ,
Here.
Joel,
Here.
Russ.
Here.
And Craig.
Here.
Is there public comment associated with the amending of the development agreement with Jism Inc.?
We don't have the agreement. Can you summarize what that's all about?
The development agreement is the required part of the arrangement that we have relating to the TIF. And
Tax incentive, okay, I understand that.
Yep.
Okay.
So this is just the development agreement that lays out how the process works in terms of the payback on that TIF and the requirement to grow the taxable, to increase the incremental taxable value by developing the land, growing the taxable value. And when we, the city, collect that tax, we distribute that tax per this agreement.
Okay. in the
with the
meantime,
developer.
You come up with the money, right? You give them the
Nope.
money.
We don't give any money until the taxable value is increased. We still collect all the taxes on the base valuation as it is.
And you give it back to them then? Is that what it amounts to?
The development agreement can vary, development agreements can vary based on project.
Okay.
This one particular, what we do is we reimburse the developer for fronting the money on the public infrastructure. So the developer paid cash for all the infrastructure on our behalf.
Right.
We're going to pay that back to that developer if the developer is able to increase the taxable value in that selected area. And they'll only be paid back the increased value up to a cap number as defined by the development agreement. The development agreement would be public information. If you wanted to come in and submit a request for the public information, you could fill that out and Lindsay and them could get you the development agreement if it's something of interest to you.
Okay, in summary though, essentially you're deferring the tax, right? So he or she doesn't have to pay on the tax for a while.
No, that's not what the development agreement does at all.
Okay.
The development agreement outlines how they get reimbursed for the infrastructure. If you think about it this way, the developer put the money in, pulled the money out, took a construction loan out, put the infrastructure in the ground and services that debt at an interest rate today with hopes that they can grow the value enough to repay some of that back.
Right.
So in a lot of ways, you could say it's a really beneficial tool to use for the city because it's the developer that's out all the money right now and incurring the interest cost to service that debt today.
Right.
We don't owe that developer anything until our taxable value increases in that area. Okay,
So
so
to get the money back, how does that money return to him then? Where does that come from?
when a
County,
building
county.
builds a new, when
Yeah.
someone builds a new building,
Right,
the taxable value of that empty lot now changes, right?
right. So
The
now.
difference from that empty lot to the new taxable value
Yeah.
is the incremental
Right,
amount.
right,
Those tax dollars that come to the city,
right.
we have agreed on this particular development to reimburse that
Okay.
developer
Yeah,
for
that's
infrastructure.
deferred then back, yeah, okay. Right, so we lose taxes.
You could
we
say
lose
it's
that tax
deferring it.
money for a while.
You could say it's deferring it, Alan, or what it is it's a financing mechanism to get new streets and water and sewer. You could look at it that way as well.
And-
What we're amending today is the development agreement did not call for tax abatement in that industrial park. Competitively, our surrounding towns have offered tax abatement. Many have that as an alternative. It was recommended that it would be beneficial to help sell the land.
Right.
But by giving tax abatement to a new business,
Mhm.
that takes money out of the developer's pocket because it decreases the incremental tax value. So the developer had to agree to sacrifice some taxable increase on their agreement to get paid back. It's gonna reduce their ability to get paid back or the timeline that they can get paid back.
Okay.
We're amending this agreement so that we can process the abatement to market and attract businesses with tax abatement into that area is all we're doing.
Yep, I got it.
Any other questions from the public? Okay,
A motion to close the public hearing.
7:02, motion to close public hearing from Joel, a second. Second from Russ. All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? And any abstentions? We're gonna go back into regular session with a roll call.
Julie,
here.
AJ,
Here.
Joel,
Still here.
Russ.
Here.
And Craig.
Here.
Discussion and consideration first, this is first consideration again, is that right? Resolution 35, approving the authorizing execution.
No.
No, we can do this?
Fine.
All right, so I'll take a motion to approve that. We're just doing exactly what I've just explained. Amending that development agreement to account for the abatement, to give us the green light for the abatement to be offered to outside people.
Taylor, a question.
Mm-hmm.
The abatement is still our decision as the city to offer the abatement. This simply enables us to make that decision.
Yeah, this is not approving, my understanding from Jerry here, Craig, is that there will be an application process to apply for the abatement that will come before the city council for approval.
Okay, that's as I understood it, is our decision rather than the developer's decision.
Correct, but they can
Okay.
market it with tax abatement availability,
Okay, thank you.
you know, pending city approval or whatever language. So did I hear you say motion, Joel? Or did I just dream that?
No, I said it. You might
He
have
was
dreamt it, but I
talking
said it.
about getting a motion.
Okay,
So we're on K, right?
I'd still like to talk, we're on L and I would
35.
welcome a motion to approve this.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second, any other discussion need to occur on this? Hearing none, all those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And any abstention? Discussion and consideration in public hearing on ordinance amendments to accessory buildings, chicken coop runs, adopting site plan standards and changing process for determining the city council meeting. So we will, 7:05, we will open the public hearing with a quick roll call.
Julie? Here. AJ?
Here.
Joel?
Right here.
Russ?
Here.
And Craig?
Here,
That will open the public hearing. Is there any public input on these changes, ordinance changes? Yeah, you want to know about the chicken coop one, huh?
Well, the accessories, building one. If we had this in place, you probably wouldn't have needed the variance request submittal that you made. We're trying to simplify the setbacks so that when an accessory building's in the backyard, they have to meet a minimum 4-foot side and rear yard setback. And taking out, currently you have to meet the setbacks to the side and rear, but you also have to meet a street setback requirement. So it's a matter of simplifying those standards for accessory buildings. For chicken coop and runs, increasing the distance from a chicken coop and a run to an adjacent neighbor's dwelling. So increasing that 25 feet for a total of 50 feet. Adopting standards for site plan design. Currently, the city has no standards for site plans, so if we get a development in the community, we have no standards to apply other than general bulk standards like setbacks, height, that kind of thing.
To clarify, I know the one you're concerned about. The chicken coop is 50 feet from the dwelling, not the property line. And so in theory, there was a complaint that was brought up about this. In theory, if your neighbor's house is 25 feet off of their property line, you can put your chicken coop you can put your chickens right on the property line. Right? This is making it so that it's 50 feet.
Yeah, it would really apply to new requests. Existing ones would be non-conforming to the new standard or grandfathered. Because the current standard is 25 feet.
Huh?
That's a full lot width.
To the dwelling.
And how many people have their a full lot width to a dwelling?
Well, the setbacks, a side yard setback is,
For an accessory building,
no, for a home,
8 feet.
8 feet. So between two, you have 16 feet already, right? Two dwellings. And the setup today is 25 feet. It effectively forces, right, the chicken coop to be in the backyard.
Which is where most people are gonna put them anyway.
To Joe's point,
if you had a dwelling on each side of you and you had a 50-foot lot, there's no room for a chicken coop in your backyard.
That would be probably accurate, yeah.
So you can only have chickens if you've got a lot wider than 50 feet.
Pretty close.
But you're talking about putting in a side yard.
Yeah,
Right?
but if the width of your whole lot is 50 feet, like a lot of the ones are in town, you've only got 50 feet to deal with in your lot.
Not
So
if
you only
put
got
in the back
25 feet from each lot.
You're talking side yard
Side,
placement
yeah.
of a chicken coop.
If you put it in the back.
Edge of the coop to a neighbor's
Unless-
house, that distance has to be 50 feet.
Right, but your neighbor, if you got a neighbor on each side of you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to put in the backyard.
Yeah, it's not about the back lot, but side to the house on each side of you, you can't get 50 feet away. There's no 50 feet between those two houses.
Right, side to side.
Am I missing something?
Yeah.
Feet to their house. So that's.
Most lots are 100,
I'm
120
assuming
feet.
there's a
So they're gonna
diagram.
be more than
Houses
that.
in the backyard.
It's a diagram.
How many should you put on?
Yeah.
It has to be 50 feet from your neighbor, not 50 feet from your house.
Yeah, it's gotta be 50 feet from your neighbor's house, not yours. Yeah.
It'd work. I could do it in my house.
Is he
if I
talking
wanted
about
to.
their 50 feet?
Man, I have a corner lot, but
But it's.
even the middle lot, my neighbor could do it.
Map.
Is that a diagonal measure? Have to get creative to put it in there.
Yeah, I
Side
can
to
be.
side.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just looking at something really quick. On the assessor's site. Does council have?
I don't want them.
Let's see. Yeah, that's a side. That's a side one again, right?
Compliance.
What's that?
I'm not sure we could be in compliance with, even in a double lot.
Yeah.
You're 50 feet.
And again, I would apply to new requests.
Your chicken coop, just on a diagonal is almost 80 feet away from Keith's house.
How far from Tom's?
80 feet, are you sure?
Yep. Yep, I'm on the assessor's measurement right now, from Tom's house. House, not garage, 86 feet. Yeah. So yours would be in, you'd meet that standard.
Guilty by.
It basically makes it the backyard, it's a back, you've got to put the chickens in your backyard.
And kind of deep in the backyard. In some.
Well, not necessarily, it just, yeah, it depends where
Where your neighbor is.
50 feet.
depends where your neighbor is. Which is the whole point of the complaints that have been, is like, people aren't thoughtful to where they put their chickens. They can be 25 feet. If my house, not all houses are just at the 8 feet setback. Some of them are set back, 15, 20 feet, depending on lot size.
86 feet, Tom's.
That's what I got.
Cause it's by the dwelling, right? Not like a garage.
It's the dwelling.
Right, the dweller.
Garage
It's the
doesn't
dwelling.
count.
I don't think it's an overly, I don't think we have a lot of chicken demand in town at the moment, but
Does the connected garage count as a house or are you talking the actual house?
And definitely it doesn't. Like it was.
that would be
If you have an
considered
attached garage, it would be part of your house.
dwelling, part of the dwelling.
Yeah, I mean, if you go
Going from. the corner
roughly
of
where his
this
scoop is,
garage.
that's 59 foot.
From where?
Keys. 59, because it's not actually on the beacon. The chicken coop's not on there.
Oh, it's on there for me. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's actually chicken coop.
Yeah.
You go kind of where roughly, I think it is about 59 feet. So technically, it's over 50, but
I'm getting like 60.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like it's that far.
Yeah, planning and zoning, looked at all these and approved these to be moved forward, so. And again, you mentioned that the ones that are existing today would be
They
grandfathered.
call them grandfather, but it'd be legal non-conforming.
Is there other questions about any of the others?
The other thing is we're changing the way we set the date for the city council meeting so that we do that by resolution at the first meeting of the year instead of doing it by ordinance.
Simplifying accessory buildings, adjusting the distance from dwelling on coops and runs, adopting some site plan standards. Changing process, determining city council meeting, which is what you just touched on. Anything,
And again, it's the first
this is
consideration.
the first consideration?
Yeah.
So you want a motion on that?
Yeah, please.
Motion to approve that first consideration of ordinance 314?
Move to approve.
Wait, we gotta close
You
the
gotta close
public
it.
hearing. Make a motion to
Oh, yeah, we were in the
Close
public
the
hearing
public hearing,
first.
please.
Thank you.
second.
do my favorite thing.
All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? O, discussion and consideration of ordinance
We gotta
314.
take a roll call.
Yeah, you're right. We're back into the open session.
My
We'll do a
favorite
quick roll call. Thank you.
Julie,
I'm here.
AJ,
Here.
Joel,
Still here.
Russ,
Here.
and Craig.
Here.
Discussion and consideration of ordinance 314. Adopting amendments of accessory buildings, chicken coop runs, adopting site plans.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Thank you, Russ.
Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed? Any abstention? P, discussion and consideration of resolution 36, setting public hearing on March 23rd, 2026 at 5:45 PM to adopt the Slater property tax levy rate and setting a public hearing for April 20th at 6 PM to approve the city's budget. Can we have a motion to approve those dates for the public hearing, setting of the public hearing?
Motion to approve. Second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Taylor, just a quick question. This is simply setting the dates, not the content, correct?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Is that an aye?
That's an aye.
Opposed? And then any abstentions? Q, discussion and consideration of solid waste recycling options in the 2080 agreement with City of Ames. Jerry, can you give us, I know you've been working on it, some updates?
Yes. Oh, boy.
We have been working on just some alternative options so that we can weigh those options and consider them.
Again, the city of Ames is getting out of the waste to energy business. They have explored some options with different entities in the area. They've learned, and we've learned from Boone County Landfill that they are not accepting the city solid waste past July of 2027. By which the city of Ames entered into an agreement, 2-year extension. To July of 2027. At the last city council meeting, the council asked me to explore what some options would be. And I had some discussions with the Marshall County landfill operator as well as the consultant who represents the South Dallas County landfill. And both of those entities are open to having discussions with the cities about having the solid waste material be, brought to their facilities. The the Marshall County landfill per ton per capita is $62. Currently, the amount that we're paying at Boone is around $79, I believe. And, through the process that Ames went through, they ultimately ended up entering into an agreement with Carroll County. And they're indicating that those tipping fees will be somewhere in the low nineties per ton. So it's, comparatively, $62 at Marshall County. Also had a discussion, as I said, with a consultant who represents South Dallas. Their tipping fee is $54.75 per ton. I was invited to attend their board meeting at Marshall County. That's coming up on the 20th. And so I'm planning to do that, to represent the city, to continue that discussion. Also met with the Metro Waste Authority on the recycling side. City of Roland representative was also part of that call. That was before the holidays. Their interest would be to work with the city of Roland, potentially other cities in this area. They would like to have like a 5 to 10 year agreement. They would do this in-house. They would provide the totes for recycling. They would take care of customer service. It would be a bi-monthly service, so they would come to residences, dwellings twice a month. The city would be participating in the collection process, who would likely collect the monies through the utility bills. Items that would be collected would be plastics, cardboard, paper, metal, cans, tin, aluminum, glass. Again, everything would be dumped into one tote, and then it would be taken to Grimes at their redemption center and processed there. Tentatively, the per customer would be approximately $8 per customer. On the call, I asked how it compares to like Ankeny, which they also provide that service to, as well as other communities in the Des Moines Metro. The per capita or per customer charge is less than that, but they have over 100,000 customers. They have 110,000 customers, but the cost is $4.85. Again, comparing to $8 is what they tentatively put out. Any agreement would be brought before the city council for discussion. There's that, and then the city of Ames, through their process, they sent out an RFP, which is due the 16th of January. They're asking haulers to provide input, information that would not only include the city of Ames, but also other entities that are currently participating in the program, so that we can get a comparison there from their bidding process. So we'd be able to compare that to the Metro Waste Authority. And then they also, before that call, shared some information on that they could provide like a drop-off container at a select location in the community for, I think the rate was around $100. Again, all of these things would be accepted, but residents would have to go to that one location and drop off their plastics, metal, all of the recyclable materials, and then it would be picked up by the contractor that is selected by Metro Waste Authority and taken to Grimes. So those are the things, that's the information that we have to date. We also have, as the mayor mentioned, we have the 2080 agreement. The city of Ames has asked the current participants to consider the new 2080 agreement, which would primarily cover actually cover both the solid waste and recycling. We currently have an agreement through 2034. They're asking all of the current partners to sign up and agree to a new contract. So again, that's something that's before the city council, but again, we are still in that mode of collecting information, so trying to continue to do our due diligence on this topic. Be happy to answer your questions. 2034 sounds like the distant future. It does. Like the thing in sci-fi. It is. But time moves along quickly. And one of the questions that I asked the Metro Waste Authority was because I had heard that from other meetings that the DNR is not accepting applications for new landfills, and they responded that that's not true, that the DNR would entertain an application should the county and the participants be interested in trying to site a landfill in Story County. Not saying that that would happen. It is a long process. It's an extensive process. I think my background is planning, and I think of all the different uses that you try to go through to get approved, landfills would probably be among the top uses that would be cumbersome. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there is a process that's involved in that.
You didn't touch on a little bit, but one of the things I think you'd mentioned to me in one of our meetings was tipping fee differences between the locations. There's some significant differences.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
62 at Marshall and 54.75 at South Dallas.
is
And I
South
think the
Dallas and
current
Adel?
tipping fee is like $79. And it's supposed to go up
It ain't
at Carroll County.
$75 a ton.
It aims.
90 was.
It's projected to go to 95 in twenty
Yeah, that's
27.
what it was.
Sorry, I'm not gonna say cost.
No, that's good.
It goes to 85 July 1st.
That new information?
July 1st, it goes to 85. And it, and their 95 is a purely a
Yes.
projection, yeah, more of a guesstimate probably than a projection. When you go, they have to buy semis and drive them and maintain them.
So now that you've
Additional
talked,
tipping fee that they're gonna pay.
so now that you've talked. As a hauler who probably has a decent market share in Slater. If the city council pursues an agreement outside of the Ames agreement, how does that impact, or how would that impact you all as a hauler? Or what considerations do we need to consider and think about if we went with Marshall or?
The only way it's really going to impact us as a hauler is if you have to go to a citywide contract, because we do have a majority of Slater. And, you know, we're from Slater, and, you know, I'm sure other haulers could say that about the communities they serve. If you went to a citywide contract for garbage and recycling, that would be impactful on any of the small haulers that come here. And I do not like city contracts, period, end of story. There's no competition. You may have to do business with people you don't like. Like 2 of my children can't use garbage guys, because guess what? They're in Polk City and they're in a development in Ankeny, and they have city contracted, you know, they have to use the hauler that everyone tells them they have to use. So I don't believe in city contract garbage, but I know that a lot of small towns are going to it. And that's probably the thing that would impact us the most if you Slater decided to go to a contract and we weren't awarded it. And there's a chance that we wouldn't be awarded it.
Yeah.
I mean, our business is in Cambridge, and Ankeny Sanitation has Cambridge's city contract. So, I mean, that's where our shop is right now. So, you know, there's good and bad, I guess, with all of it. The recycling part of it, we were going to bid on the Ames recycling bid that they want you to invest $150 or $1.5 million. You have to furnish all the cans. They want you to finance them. And then at the end of 5 years, Ames is gonna own them. So you're putting out a ton of money to set up their recycling, and they just pay you back for time.
There's nothing to be said that if we were to enter into a partnership with Marshall County at this point that we know of, that would require us to go to a single hauler. Our haulers would just have to haul to Marshall County for us.
That's a city decision.
Right.
Yeah, if you want.
There's 2 separate discussions really in the grand scheme of things, right? Like going to a single hauler and choosing a landfill. Unless the landfill says they won't work with all those trucks.
They'll take on.
Different days.
City contract for Colo and Collins, and they have a contract with Marshall County, and we have to take all of their garbage there.
So one of the other factors that's in this, right, is the tipping fees are going up. Which that consequently means that your fees have to go up on us, the residents, right? Selecting somewhere like Marshall County from a distance logistics standpoint with a much lower tipping fee, do you believe that puts us in a better position to try to keep a steadier rate or better rate? Or I know we're not putting you on the spot or holding you to this, but
in the garbage industry is that about 25% of everything you take in goes to the landfill. So you have to think about what you're spending your other 75% of your money on. You're spending it on fuel, which diesel's $1 a gallon cheaper right now than it was a year ago. So, you know, that's helpful, but we can't control that either. Your employees, I don't know how far it is to Marshall County from Slater, Iowa. Is it 45 minutes? Is it an hour? I mean, so that's an hour and a half of employees back and forth. You know, truck maintenance, all those things. So the further you drive, the more maintenance, all of those things come into factor too. So I don't know that. Yeah, I know that's a good question. I could probably do some research and get you a better answer, but you know, all those things come into a decision on what you're gonna charge a customer. But about time and distance and what they're throwing away.
From my perspective, council, I think the biggest concern is if we turn the back on the Ames situation, we need to have our ducks in a row on the backside. And who those haulers are gonna be and who's gonna do it and what the impact is gonna be to the resident as well. The recycling, Ames is gonna force us to do no matter what. Basically. So we're gonna have the tipping fees plus the $8. I mean, that $8 a month is what Metro says, but that's coming to Slater if we stay in the Ames agreement, for sure, without a doubt.
We should be involved.
Right? Is that fair, Ken, from your
Well, they
perspective?
don't- Ames hasn't chosen that yet. Ames they're waiting for RFPs to come back to decide how much and who's gonna, and who bids on it and how much.
But you agree, if we stay in that Ames agreement, they're gonna make us have a recycling program in the city of Slater. And require households to
You have to
recycle.
have one, but you don't have to use Ames's.
Correct, but we're gonna add, we're going to put additional cost on the residents, on a household for recycling. Just based on a regulatory standpoint.
You're required to have recycling no matter what you do. In one way, shape or form. Whether doesn't matter if it's Ames or it's direct through the DNR, you have to have a recycling program. We haven't had to have one now because the waste to energy process counts as recycling because you're lowering the waste load that goes into a landfill by the way Ames burnt it.
Okay,
Supposedly burnt it.
so you're saying we're getting the recycling either way, is your
You're gonna
understanding?
have to do
Okay.
recycling one way or the other.
Okay,
You can do it with a common bin that people have to go drop it off at, but you get lower usage with that, but there's not.
but it meets the regulation, it meets the requirement.
Meets requirement, you're supposed to prove that you're lowering the waste stream into the landfill. But there's not a lot of teeth in it.
Yeah.
Through the DNR.
I'm just really concerned about the cost getting out of control at the same time where we're having to increase water and sewer rates and we're gonna talk about the levy rate and all these costs. And now we're also garbage costs are gonna double, you know, or the household cost for garbage and recycling is now gonna be
That's why I'm here.
50 to 75%
Had
more.
to be in 15 years.
Yeah.
But, it's because everybody's garbage is gonna double in the next 2 years, no matter what decision gets made. I think it's just a matter of is that where it's gonna stay for a while, or is it how much higher is it gonna go beyond that? And I think Ames's plan leaves a lot of question about it and zero control or say in it whatsoever.
Yep.
Whereas if you do it yourself, there's a lot of headaches because you've got to set up a whole new utility, you've got to do all the billing, you get all the phone calls, all the headaches, all come to our city employees. But you have a potential of saving the clients, our residents a lot of money. They might, but they don't necessarily see or appreciate that because they won't see how much it would have been if we'd have gone the other way, which.
I guess I get lost when you say we'll have to field all those bills and do all that. Why can't, if we go to Marshall County tomorrow, nothing changes from a consumer standpoint, right? Like, Paul is still gonna bill me and we'll have to have a recycling program. That's gonna change. That's gonna be something.
You're right. I was making an assumption that if we pull out of the Ames thing, that we would have to create a city.
Do a single hauler, you're saying?
Single hauler. That may not be true, but most of the cities that haven't done that in Story County have a city contract after that. So you may not have to do it that way.
That's just, we gotta get that.
Doesn't matter how many haulers are gonna be willing to go to.
Yeah.
Someplace. I had a question, Jerry. Have you clarified with Ames if that 1050 per capita charge stops when the 2080 agreement stops, or if it stops? Or if they'll enforce that part of the 2080 agreement,
Well-
or if they can enforce part of the 2080 agreement versus the whole thing?
There's really a question about operations with the current 2080 agreement. If we get out of the current 2080 with Ames, that if they would still require a recap of some of their operating costs in the formula that we're contributing to now. So we could potentially be out of their agreement, but still have to contribute, which that's a legal question.
So we don't know the answer to that.
No,
I mean, that's wording that's in the 2080 is the per capita charge.
right, which is annual per cat, $10.50 per household annual.
Okay, so you guys have found that. But I'm not a lawyer.
That's a principle of the 2080 agreement, right? So if the 2080 agreement doesn't exist, how can that?
Yeah, they can't enforce something if they let us out of
Agreements.
this 2080 agreement, they can't let you out of part of it, not all.
Right.
That's what I would think, yeah.
That was a question that the consultant
Okay.
said we need to look into.
Yeah, to verify that. Okay. So there's more to come on that. I know Ames wants us to sign and they know we're evaluating our alternatives and we're good there. And
I
the
don't know
clock's
that it's a
running.
hard deadline, they've just requested it to be returned.
Yeah. Well, those costs are crazy. Any council comment?
Keep
Oh, it's a hot
motion.
topic,
Yep.
all cities.
Yep. Well, welcome to your role deciding what to do with it. Okay. Craig, did you have anything you wanted to add or good?
Nope, nothing.
All right. We do want Jerry to go to Marshall County and find out some more information, right? Verify the haulers, those things, and
Yeah.
we're alignment in that.
Yep.
And then follow up with the South Dallas. I don't know if you'd be willing to, Paula, but it would be interesting, Paula, if you would consider looking at just some pen to paper rough on for our benefit, if we were to go with a Marshall County, you know, and their tip fees, how does that impact you guys?
I can probably estimate or get a good idea of how many tons of garbage
We have,
Slater might dump in a week and in a month. Because basically we pick up most of the town on Friday, so I can look at Drew and Matt's dump tickets. And kind of get a rough idea of how many households they pick up
okay,
and give you an idea of what it would save you guys on tonnage.
Yep.
Versus the two.
okay. Yeah, that'd be helpful. And then I think just if you'd assess maybe, hold on, Alan.
Who's Paula?
Alan, she owns Garbage Guys.
That's where ours, I think.
Yeah, I know, now I know, yeah.
Also just your impact, you know, if we were to go to Marshall County, like, does the tonnage save, are we saving enough? But it all gets offset because now the mileage is different and the time's different for you?
Like I said, we go to Marshall County already and and it's not too bad from Cambridge, so you have that too, you know.
Yep.
You go to Ames, it's 10-15 miles, you go to Marshall County, but then you only have to come back to Cambridge, so maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I mean, that's where our shop is right
Yeah.
now. Eventually we want it to be in Slater, but that's when we want yours. But I don't know where the $8 a month recycling came, but that's high a month for your town, through Metro Waste.
Okay.
I mean, we do Polo Collins for $5, twice bucks. Recycling. for the
Okay.
resident.
Was that curbside then?
Yeah.
They're talking about,
The $8 curbside, and yours is curbside too.
and then you
Everyone
got,
in town has a can.
you provide the cans.
We should provide them.
And customer service.
Does Metro Waste say if they would provide the cans for
It
them?
includes
they
the
provide the
totes, it
can.
says.
And do customer service.
So on the new
Okay.
Ames, be able to do your own recycling.
What's that?
And the new Ames, like I do on my own recycling. So
They said they'll have a drop-off location in Ames. They're saying they will. They're saying that they will have one in Ames. They're gonna put a very, very heavy emphasis on it because talk about diesel fuel, they're gonna have a massive new increase in cost of diesel fuel to drive to Carroll and back. Carroll County and back.
Yeah, supposedly, we're never gonna have to go there, which amazes me. We're gonna take all of our construction dumpsters, all of our residential garbage, we're taking everything and putting it in this building, and they're gonna somehow sort through it. Figure out what they can recycle and what they have to take to the landfill in Carroll. I don't know how they're gonna get it done for $95 a ton. I really don't. I don't blame you guys for being nervous about it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when we estimate things. I built a house before, I was $20,000 over budget. No one stays under budget.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. Okay, so Jerry will report back and attend those meetings. Paul, any information you could follow up with Jerry on, or Jerry with Paula, that's helpful as we analyze, because we don't wanna. You guys are good to the city of Slater and all the events and supporters. We wanna be cognizant of that as well, the impact to the haulers that we're working with, because it wouldn't do us any good to have an agreement and then lose a bunch of haulers. Cause now we're right back into the, monopoly kind of mentality there versus the free market opportunity.
Out of curiosity, garbage guys, I know in Ankeny comes up.
Sanitation, you mentioned one to me on the phone today, Ken, that I didn't remember.
Waste management.
Aspen. Aspen,
They're what used to be Walters, is that right? Or-
no, we.
I know they're
we
in
got
Des Moines.
Walters. Walters is still in business, they're out of Boone. And they might come here.
Aspen, and then I thought there was one other white truck.
Any sanitation.
No,
Yeah.
one other one I thought.
Sanitation comes.
Waste-
I just
Waste
was
management.
wondering. if
Waste
you had anybody
management.
else.
Waste management? I don't know.
Management.
For sure they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, those giant greens.
All right. Let's move to the next topic. I think we spent enough time on that garbage.
You've been waiting for that all day. If you were planning that, looking at
It
it.
just actually, it honestly just,
Let's pull this one out.
it honestly just, yeah, I like to put in AI some good city council jokes, and this one fit.
Dude, I should do that.
For discussion consideration, request from Doug Rogers for city to pay quote from Riley Construction for proposed
I'm not tracking.
stormwater drainage improvements at Prairie Creek Plat 4 and 8. We made an adjustment, Craig will recall, Joel, you might recall, at one point where some of the drainage or the design down there, we didn't like. It was just gonna be a gravity free flow, and it was supposed to just free flow down kind of a swale into a drain pipe. And it was gonna have to go a long ways, 100 yards or more. We made an agreement at the time to pipe that a lot closer to where the pipe would spit out kind of right by the feeder that then drops underneath the developments down there under Seavers Trail and dumps into 4 Mile Creek down there. It's Mark, I think, has looked at it. Doug has looked at it. They rocked it. They basically did the piping the way we wanted, made that adjustment, and we put that into the agreement, I believe, on that development. Then what happened was they rip wrapped it and kind of just did something there. Apparently it's eroding more. Jerry's been down there and looked at it, I know. I don't know if anybody else has. I haven't gotten the chance to get down there. It's eroding. And there's a quote in here from Riley to now, and Doug has asked that we pay it. We'd go forward and do this, but to go back and now tear that out and do more of a concrete swell. Or swale, I should say,
From
for
the outlet pipe.
from the outlet pipe to
of
the inlet
small
pipe. It's kind of $17,000, I think, or something.
Is there only one quote on this?
I have a little bit of heartburn about it, to be honest.
And this is. Yeah, this is an old issue, right? Is that the way I'm understanding, or is this a new issue?
This is a new issue this was done when he finished last year.
Thought they had a solution, they didn't, and then they found out it was.
They don't like the results of the solution they have now.
It was an area where there was standing water, and as the mayor said, to fix that, they piped it underground, stormwater drainage from the outlet or the detention pond north to where it outlets, and it's like right where there's 2 lots that are part of the Plat 4 development, so it extends from Plat 8 to the north.
So
which is
basically
Plat
from
4.
trail to 11th, and then is what you're talking.
Yeah, part of it is you have the drainage that goes.
Yeah, that's The,
Farm
Have you-
field to the west.
have you seen the cul-de-sac that's down there now?
Yeah.
Doug's got a house, Austin's built a house in there. It's in the back of that cul-de-sac, there's a detention pond, and it runs kind of north along the bike path. And then it kind of, I don't know if it 90s or 45s and spits out. And then it's supposed to go in an inlet pipe that then goes under Trail Drive, under the Severs Trail, and spits out into 4 Mile. There's a section there between the outlet from the detention and off of the development to the intake. To move it, it's that section between the two that is the erosion problem.
I assume the intake is city?
Yes, and yes, and I believe we have an easement on,
There's easements.
on the pipe that runs to, out of the detention pond to the inlet, like there's all easements there for that.
Is this put in with the new development?
What's that?
It was put in with the new
With
development.
Plat 8.
Recent, figure out when this was put in.
About a year ago.
Not even probably, not even a year ago,
Put in a
probably.
year ago, it was we have to pay for Texas.
He's requesting that.
Is there not any sort of maintenance bond on this? With it being a new development,
That I don't know.
I would look into see if there's a maintenance bond on the issue, if there's a maintenance bond on the public improvements that were added to that plat. The maintenance bond should cover any future issues.
I don't know if
Usually-
this was a public improvement.
It's not with the new development. So would have had to put a detention pond in with the new development.
They did.
with Stormwater.
They did, but that's not where the
Yeah, and then
the water's in the
new
backyard.
piping was added to
Older
take care of the
development.
standing water between those two.
But we do
lots.
have, we do have easements there, so it could be public, I mean, it could be public infrastructure. I believe it's gotta be, I guess, because I think. I don't remember exactly what that cost was. It was almost $30,000,
34.
34,000, and that was in the TIF agreement. Oh.
in the TIF
So that would
agreement,
have to
And
be,
that would have to fall under the maintenance bond.
so that would have to be public infrastructure.
If it was in the
Yeah.
TIF, it would be public infrastructure.
So I'm hearing that this council does not want to approve that at this point. You're seeking further research
Maintenance bond.
back to the,
And don't we, if we're gonna do the work and pay for the work, don't we have to get multiple bids?
at this threshold, I would say we'd have to, based on our purchasing policy.
Yeah, we can't just give somebody can't just give us a bid and get them.
Yeah.
For that one only. Can't do that.
All right. So.
Well, I agree, but I guess before we talk about getting bids, it seems like we should get back to the point of, is this our responsibility or not? I know ag water, not city water, but the creator of the flow issues is usually responsible from a farm perspective. So I'm not sure this is something we should be adopting as a city, as a repair.
Yep.
Okay, so that's Jerry, you're looking into that? Okay.
Perfect. You want a
Good,
motion
thank
to
you.
do that or?
And I love motions.
You do?
You don't need
Yes.
one.
You don't need one though, so
You don't need one.
no, go for it.
All right. We're gonna move on to the next item. Discussion and consideration Slater Animal Hospital Agreement for stray dogs and cats. This is pretty basic. It's just, Beth stepping up that they can take the stray dogs and cats. She disclosed some information about like, certain licenses. I'm great if she wants to take them, and hold them for 24 hours, I think is what the agreement says. Is there anybody has any issue with any of the agreement they've seen and read?
Hold them for 24 hours and then they would go to
Yeah,
the.
she's not licensed to be a boarder, but has a license for hospitalization. So and she said most of the time, there's very few incidences that dogs or cats are picked up. And when they are, usually we're able to find the owners pretty quickly. So she's willing to be a kind of a holding place until such time the owner can be identified. And when we pick them up or when they get picked up, she'll check to see if they have their license,
chips.
Yeah, no, the vaccinations.
Yeah.
That's the, that's looking for. Vaccination.
Make a motion to approve Slater Animal Hospital agreement for stray dogs and cats.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? Discussion, consideration of whether to adopt an ordinance for peddlers and solicitors.
Yeah, we currently do not have anything for peddlers, solicitors, transient merchants. We have a model ordinance that we received from the same company that's working on the city's codification. And
So what do you
This
need?
basically would require persons that want to go door to door to
Perfect.
come in to City Hall and get a license that they would have to carry on their person so that when they go to the door, if a resident opens the door, that they'll see that they've been to City Hall and provided some
That was the case all
information about their business in addition to a bond, which they would have to submit to the Secretary of State's office.
Yes, we should
So
have.
this is just, do you
What
want,
would you like?
do you want?
Yes,
For this, because this would be setting a hearing.
yes.
along. Yeah, we want an ordinance. So we set the hearing for next,
But it'd be
Yeah,
the
I'll make
February
a-
meeting would be the first.
make a motion to
Yep.
set the
Public
hearing
hearing,
for public hearing for
February 17th.
February 17th. Second.
Taken from AJ. All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Discussion and consideration of adopting revised city pool and general city employee handbooks.
Yeah, these are the documents that I mentioned in my update. Really appreciate the input that the policy and admin committee and the department heads, Parks and Rec board, put into both of these policies. I think through this process, we've strengthened both of these documents. The idea with something like this is you would revisit them. It's not something that you're just gonna adopt and not look at every year. So again, I don't know if you have specific questions. They were uploaded, both documents. I can tell you just about every section that was changed to. And I think we strengthened these documents. We compared various other handbooks from communities in this area, communities that I worked at, communities that Lindsay worked at, the pool managers. One of the assistant managers provided input on the pool policy. Amy provided some really good input on the pool policy. So I think we're in pretty good shape for both of them. And like I said, we would make sure that they get revisited on a periodic basis.
I trust that you guys have done the work, so I'm fine if the
Make
council's
a
fine.
motion to adopt the revised city pool and general city employee handbooks.
Second.
Couple of minor things. On front cover, pool manager list is Kelsey, which is fine. Wonder if we should also have Lindsay, assuming that Kelsey is going to respond to her. So if there is a conflict between the pool manager and an employee, a seasonal or part-time, that they have a full-time person they can go to also. And
Yeah,
Lindsay
I would have
is-
oversight with the pool manager.
Okay. So.
Just basically adding your contact information on the front page.
Okay.
Yeah, Jerry or
Okay.
Lindsay, whichever. On the
Yeah, pool
second
manager
page,
rolls up to Jerry.
on the second page, it says we're open from noon to 7. I thought we were open before that.
Nope.
No,
Not unless it's the sharks coming in.
No, it's the private
Sharks or
Opens-
lessons. That's it.
Public is 12.
before noon. Yep, public at noon.
But our employees are responsible to be there for lifeguarding for sharks and for lessons, right? And this is employee manual?
Yeah, when they get hired, that's gonna be part of their duties is to help with lessons and those extra duties, but the pool doesn't open for the general public until noon.
It's a general public time, right?
It just says hours of operation. So I guess I'm nitpicking, but I thought we had an early swim at 6 a.m. also.
That's in my notes.
it would be what?
It'd be very.
That would be
much-
additional, Craig.
Okay.
Yeah.
Open public at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just,
public hours of operation.
Yeah, I think Craig's point is just. It's not public hours that matter in the employee handbook, it's employee hours.
Yep.
And I think he's just saying we should reflect the employee hours. Not the public hours in there.
Right, this isn't pool
Right.
policy, this is pool employee policy, and they have to be there.
Yeah, we didn't, that was existing language. We didn't change anything, but we certainly can.
I'm sure there's some attorney somewhere that would like to argue that, well, that employee doesn't have to be there before noon because your handbook says noon.
Right.
So I think it's a fair point to make the adjustment.
Still on page 2, way down towards the bottom, it has something in bold about everyone must punch in. Right above that, it says closing is not the responsibility of all staff. I think we need to strike the word not.
Closing is not the responsibility of a few people following the manager's protocol and closing requirements.
the updated one, does that say January 12th on it?
Yeah, 19, no.
Number 19.
We made changes,
So it's in.
the attorney.
I just thought we had to strike the word not, other closing was the responsibility of everyone. I'm
Yeah.
filling in for Sue and being nitpicky.
That correction can be made.
Okay.
That's the intent, right? I would say.
Seemed like it.
I think that's the intention of the wording.
Under the discretion of the city, of the pool manager.
And then jumping to page 6 under disciplinary action. Twice it says on action by the city council. I guess I would feel like Kelsey and Jerry and Lindsay would be responsible to have warnings and terminations for seasonal employees without city council action. Otherwise,
When it comes to dismissal, I'm gonna be bringing all those to city council. I'll probably be doing that in closed session, but that's just good practice.
okay, I
If
guess
there's
I'm looking at,
recommendation to dismiss an employee.
okay, I was only looking at the time aspect of, you really want to wait until you can get us together before you get rid of an
It could be
employee?
a special meeting.
Okay.
The
All right, as long as
discipline-
that doesn't affect operations, I'm fine, but I'm used to, when you want to fire somebody as a seasonal employee, you want to fire them right away and not have them poison the group for another 2 weeks. But if you're fine with that from an operational standpoint, that's fine.
I think
Yeah.
we need to be aware of the situation.
Yeah.
Yep. I think it's better to have it in here that the council has to do it. Just based on
Would be.
being a small town and what,
Recommendation based on the facts, and that would have happened in closed session.
yeah, you could put the person on a leave.
Yep.
Pending that result of the city council.
That's how.
Okay, did you have any more, Craig?
Not on the pool one.
Okay, we have the motions to approve the other one, so did you want to touch on the other?
Yep, as I said, channeling my inner Sue. I think I had a couple in there was all. I'm on page 6. I guess we just worked on the one because didn't know if seasonal employees had to be a council action for termination. Hiring rather. I didn't think the council action had to be taken for hiring a seasonal employee. So not a concern.
I can tell you where it was, whether it's full-time, seasonal, part-time, all those requests were put on the agenda for action, whether it was consent or a business item.
Okay. Can they be hired before a council meeting then? Because sometimes you're gonna want to pull in a seasonal employee for the pool, whatever, quickly instead of waiting for a council meeting. Can they begin employment before we sign off then?
In June, so we're gonna probably do all this in April and May.
April, May.
We're probably gonna have all of the candidates, the managers and all the candidates for the positions. At least the month before it actually opens.
Okay, as long as it doesn't hold your,
So we're
restrict
gonna
your
be working on this
operations.
probably in another month and a half.
Okay,
Believe it or not.
I'm just used to a seasonal employee. Sometimes you lose some and got to get another one in quickly.
Yeah.
Same page, number 2 says the part-timers may not work in excess of 40 hours. That seemed restrictive. I can see as should not, but if we say may not, they cannot. So whether it's a part-time guy working for Mark on snow removal, I don't know, Kelsey as a part-time at the pool, we say they cannot work more than 40.
Pool handbook.
They can't, and that seemed restrictive.
Where the pool handbook stuff.
Kelsey would be
general.
in the pool handbook, not the employee handbook.
Well, we got part-time employees in here. So that would apply to, I'll pick a worst case, Mark found a snow removal. If we have a brutal week and he's working people.
Handbook.
So
Did
I'm
you
on
put
page
the-
6 under definitions, and part-time employee, it says
Revised
not
ones
more
up
than,
there.
not more
After
than
the
40.
attorney.
It should be on here. It should be uploaded. Most current.
After the attorney. Okay.
Part-time employees designated by the council as part-time employees are not to work in excess of 40 hours per week. I'm guessing, Craig, that there's probably some legal requirement to put that in there for our protection. That we wouldn't want those people working those 40 hours because that could change certain statuses in terms of benefit eligibility.
If they do it over long durations, I'm just worried that if we say they can't do it, period, then they can't do it, period. Otherwise, we've invalidated the other way. So I understand the intention, but if we're in the middle of a snowstorm, I would assume Mark's going to want to keep any part-timers he has around.
You mean Mike, Nick, less than 30.
So be ahead with those.
Yeah.
Does council have concern about that or the rest of council? Part-time saying will not work in excess of 40 hours per week.
We don't. Part-time.
Employees designated by the council as part-time employees are not to work in excess of 40 hours per week.
I'd say it's pretty uncommon, but you would have a part-time that works more than 40, but
Limit.
no.
Okay. I'm not hearing a lot of concern from the 4 here, Craig.
Okay. No, that's fine. I just don't want to have it be restrictive for us. Bottom of the page, we're on minimum requirements. We talk about physical examination. I guess I'm used to a world where CDLs are required, so I'm used to also making people susceptible to a drug test. Doesn't mean they'll have to, but we don't mention drug testing in here.
I thought we updated that.
Minimum requirements for employment.
Craig, are you reviewing the most updated version? What's the date?
It should
I
say
thought
January 12th.
Yeah, this is what this one says, January 12th. It was the one I downloaded from
It does
your,
not say drug test
from
in
the
there.
OneDrive.
It does not say drug test in there.
I thought we had the drug test in there. The attorney did not have it in there.
Yeah, we had the attorney's office take a look at both policies.
Did the attorney strike it, do you know?
No, he did not.
So then it should be in there.
And he actually had somebody that had expertise in personnel law.
Do you have you're used to drug tests being in the employee handbook at
Yeah.
Huxley?
Most cities.
Yep.
Drug test all full time.
Well, we need to get the drug test added
But
back in.
Only if they hold a CDL.
And they did.
So like administratively, not very common. But if you hold.
Only with the CDL, you're saying, so the caveat needs to say
CDL.
drug tests.
And then you also need to have a drug and alcohol testing program, which the city does not.
Are you
have.
probably gonna be point
Yep.
the random one?
They're not
It's not,
participating there.
it's through Unity Point, yes, but
But
we
it's
do.
random.
Just before we go deeper into that, we want that in there.
Yes.
For CDL only, or,
It's usually just CDL.
CDL.
okay, we'll get that added back, Craig.
All right, and this is for the application procedure. Without using names, we had a mistake in a hiring process for me once. we hired, it wasn't me, it was in my department. We hired a person with an alcohol problem. And once we found out, then we had to rehabilitate the person before we could fire them. So that's the reason under the application process, even if we don't have a random drug testing, that's the reason I at least have as an opportunity. Yeah. So I don't want to argue too much about it. I'm fine leaving that to lawyers, but it seems like maybe something worth having in there.
You're just saying and alcohol, drug and alcohol?
That's what I'm more accustomed to, and make no mistake, it's covering your butt from a legal perspective. But yes, having the option to say we're going to do that. If we don't say we can, then generally you can't.
Okay.
But I'll defer to what legal counsel says for us. That's the lawyers I was used to.
Okay.
All right. Jumping all the way to page 9 on continuing education. Bullet 1, course approved in writing by the department head, or is it the city administrator, to make sure we have a consistent policy across our 3 departments?
Where's he at?
I think Jerry wants the department head. So like Mark would approve it for his staff.
And I think Mark should recommend it, but to make sure that we have equal training opportunities across departments, I guess it should be, I'm leaning towards it should be signed off on by the city administrator, who everyone report to, instead of a department head, and one department does more or less training than another.
He wants city administrator instead of department heads.
City administrator.
Yeah, is that the way you guys wanted it?
Talking about continuing
Course
education.
approved and made by department head, or so we can also be approved by department head. You want my hard copy?
Yeah.
Well,
I have to put what page it is.
I think department head's fine from my perspective, but
And it's probably not a problem, Taylor. I'm just trying to make sure we're consistent across departments, and our departments are small. I was used to larger departments, and you're trying to keep it consistent across them.
yeah, I don't think it happens a lot. And I think if the department head approves it, AJ, if you want to go to a course, who approves training for you?
Who approves
Who
training?
approves you to go to a training?
My
Department head?
Yes.
Department head.
Okay, department head, I think makes sense.
Yeah, don't feel strongly.
Okay.
The number 2, same section. I guess I'm a little leery about what we have right there, because to the best of my knowledge, we have not done job descriptions yet. And so saying that we pay for an additional a class or certification, a license, without knowing what's already required for that position, it seems inappropriate to say we're going to give you a $50 or $1.50 raise for getting a certification you should already had, but we don't have job description, so we can't really say that yet. So to me, pay for training is a part of a job description.
Correct. I would agree with that.
Most cities do give, whether or not it's part of your job requirements or not, they give you a step increase with licensing.
Yeah.
But they usually, try to look at, the last guy made $28 an hour. We're gonna pull out, he's got no licensing, he had grade 2s across the board, $1.50 per license. Pull that out, that's now their starting wage. And then when they get those licenses,
They get the bump.
then they get the bump. So
Okay.
that's generally how it's done, but a lot of cities aren't $1.50 across the board. It's usually step increases, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4.
Correct.
The higher the license, the more the raise.
Yeah, for existing
Yep.
staff, as they obtain the licensure, then it'll give them that increase. Right.
Yeah.
After they pass.
And I think if you keep in mind that the course has to be approved inviting it, by the department head, then you create that continuity and protection from just.
Random.
What else you
All
got,
right,
Craig?
I guess I'm concerned with that, but I guess I'll roll with it. I think we
What's
got
your
the cart and
biggest-
horse backwards here. That we need to have those job descriptions in place before we start talking about additional.
department directors can just.
Well, I think like AJ said, you're gonna have the bump schedule either way. The job descriptions will be adjusted. The compensation for the job would be adjusted based on the licensure at the time of
We
hiring.
currently get a rates increase each license anyways, so you're not really changing anything. I do.
We're not
agree-
changing from where we're at.
I agree that job descriptions, I think, is vital, but,
And we're working on
And
those.
we're working.
but I mean, they're already getting a step increase currently.
Yeah.
Whether or not you adopt this today or not, there's
Right.
still a policy that they're getting a step increase.
Right.
Yep, but we don't have a policy in place that says if you don't have your required certifications, your starting wage isn't there. So we're correcting some stuff, so I'm not going to make a big issue out of it. I'm jumping all the way to page 16, employee benefits. And I think I brought this one up before. Right now, we pay for single or family. And I guess in today's world, paid family insurance is not that common that I'm aware of. I'm used to business and education. Neither one does that. So I think that makes an added perk. And my second concern is I don't like the discrimination effect of it, of a single person in effect has a $12,000-$15,000 pay cut versus a married with children person. So I want to be competitive on our total compensation. I don't know where cities are at on that. So I don't have good intelligence that way. AJ, I would guess you probably have some ideas what Huxley does. But in education, so other public service jobs, most education jobs don't have free family insurance. They obviously offer it, but they have to pay for it. And as I said, I've always had a beef with the fact that singles often get the short end of the stick on things like that. So any comments from the council, or if it's 4-1, then I'll shut up.
It's 75-25. 75 are 100% paid, 25 not.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
but it does say 100% of your premium.
No, I mean 75 of the cities pay 100% family.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's been lots of studies on it.
Working in the city.
Yeah.
How about if it's something that we review for next year, because we would want to make an adjustment in their wage if we were to take away that benefit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something you're just gonna change abruptly.
I would think that would be it's a pretty crazy heartburn if we took.
Well, we've just done the enrollment period, so this needs to be done before the end of the year, calendar year, right?
Yeah, and I can do a study to
Say
see
that's a
who
pretty
pays.
severe change to just.
Yeah.
have them change.
Well, I see what Craig's saying, but you could almost argue it the other way too, is if you take away that family, then are you gonna
Yeah.
increase the wage?
Exactly.
Because then you are financially significantly changing the role.
I would not be in favor of just up and changing it for sure,
Yeah.
but
No, we would clearly have to phase it. I would completely agree. That would be a huge hit to people.
Yeah. It sounds like a future item that needs to be on the list to evaluate this particular benefit offering. I would say probably like a quarter 3, 27 or 26 fiscal year 27 for us, right? To revisit that and make those adjustments so we could be out in front of it for quarter 4. So I would say that that's like maybe an August meeting item. If you guys could note that. What else, Craig?
Jumping all the way to 21, and I'm not good at this. People know I don't do social media, but I realize in a younger age group that the sexual harassment and harassment in general using social media, I guess, is a real thing. And we do not mention social media usage. I don't know if we should or should not.
Do we mention that in the pool handbook?
No, I mentioned the same thing. If we put it in here, we should probably put it in the pool.
I would agree with that.
So I don't have good verbiage suggestions, any of those things. So just, I'm showing my age. Social media is not a real issue to me, but.
Yep, it's a great point. will you, Jerry, look into some wording, talk to the attorney about what people are adding as far as the social media side goes? Yes.
Okay.
And
Good
as somebody
point,
else
Greg.
mentioned, the pool also, if we do adopt it here, we probably need to do the pool.
Yep, agree.
I'm jumping all the way to 24. Expectations, bullet 3, letter C. I agree on the all employees forbidden from having alcohol or controlled substances, except for the on or off duty. We have some, July 4th at the park, that type of thing. I don't know how to wordsmith that to allow people to have some fun off duty on facilities. But right now it says that employees cannot do that. And that's puts them in an awkward spot. If we're fine just saying we're going to ignore it, it's a minor thing, that's fine. I don't want to put an employee crosswise because they had a beer at the park on the 4th of July. Don't all jump in at once.
What does he recommend?
Let's just say, I don't know how to
I
word
think he's saying just get rid of the word off duty, I think is what he's recommending.
Sounds good.
I think you could ask the attorney about it. But I think then that changes your bullets, right? Because you would want to, legally, you probably want to have the wording in there that says on or off duty in city building or, vehicle. Maybe facility, park or
You
something.
would be called in if you've been.
What?
One would think that they've got somebody that's on call for that holiday, that person should not be under the influence. So then they have the potential of being called in.
Yeah,
So I would think, they're gonna have an on-call rotation, and we're not necessarily talking about pool people, because that's obvious that you wouldn't want them drinking on the 4th of July and being lifeguards.
but on duty, would they be considered on duty if they're on call?
You could add on duty or on call.
Right.
And then get rid
I
of.
think that's his point, but I also think from a legal standpoint, your attorney would point you to say like, oh, your policy, he was off duty and he got wasted in the fire department and, took the truck out, you'd want to be able to point back to this and say, no, our handbook said he could not do that. He violated our policy. The enforcement is a different thing that has to be handled and done, but the legal wording, I think you're better off to have the legal protection.
I guess I was going more about public works and that types of stuff versus your emergency services and stuff.
And that's Public Works is another great example. Hey, we had the holiday get together Friday afternoon and the skid loader went through the wall. I think the protection on or off duty is a good protection. Obviously, it's not one that's been enforced here and I'm not going to be enforcing it off duty at the 4th of July or at the fireman's dance, but
I get why it's there.
I also get having policies. If you're gonna have a policy, enforce the damn thing. Don't have policies that don't get enforced. So. Julie, AJ, Joel, Russ, what do you want to do?
Makes sense to keep it, probably use it to protect us. Leave it.
AJ,
Sounds like consensus is leave it.
we got 2 of them. I need another one for consensus.
Yeah, leave it. Just
AJ,
from a legal standpoint, as long as it's not enforced, like
Julie,
to that severity.
Well, if we're gonna leave it. And say we're gonna look the other way, that doesn't make sense to me.
so then do you make instead of changing the words, you say with exception given for
Celebrations.
The celebration clause. Consultant attorney, I don't know.
yeah.
Is there enough interest in adjusting it that we can just hand it to a lawyer and let them wordsmith the thing for us?
The Larry.
Or have the attorney look through all this thing.
Yeah, the
They
attorneys
did.
looked through it.
Very good.
Well, you can ask them the question that came up at our meeting, see what they say.
Yep. What else you got, Craig?
That was it.
All right. To be followed through on. So we will, actually, what I'd like to do is table that. What I'd like to do though is, revise that.
Revise it.
Yeah, you should vote on all the changes.
Where's East?
We'll revise it, and I'd like to ask that we get a revision on the, rescind the motion and issue a new motion tabling the approval of the pool handbook and employee handbook
You said.
to address the concerns and changes as noted in the preceding 16 minutes.
Got it.
This. I motioned that. Second,
Yes. AJ seconded.
AJ second.
All those in favor signify with the sign aye. Opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Discussion consideration of adopting salary ranges related policies for the city employees. We'll start with you, Craig.
Oh, the volunteers, both fire and EMS. I'm torn. $5 a call seems really cheap, but they're doing it as a volunteer basis, and so I don't know. I don't know what the right thing is. I defer to Chad and Brent, but one time I got a dime raise. I was like, I would rather get nothing than this. So I don't know what the right thing to do is. So whatever those two think, I'm good. I don't want to be insulting, and $5 strikes me as insulting.
Honestly, the current language under the provision that talks about the EMS says that there's to be no compensation, so that's something that needs to be amended as we continue to work on these things.
I would
Maybe
say
the low sets. Yeah, maybe the low set's a better way to do it all the way around, because at least it's a little more substantial. $5, they can get a coffee on the way home from an emergency call, and that just seems somehow inappropriate. I don't know.
I think I would want to see a little more data associated with the financial impacts of adjusting that significantly, if we were to do that. With some information relating to how many calls, we've had and what that, it's not probably significant to change it a few bucks. And that comparison related to, all the other cities around us, what their pay is.
Only other one I had was Bathhouse at 10. Maybe that's enough. I could see it being 12, but I'm not going to argue much either way.
You can't sound like that in the first meeting. Yeah, go ahead.
Is it classified as payment or reimbursement?
I think it's, I don't know the answer to that, what it's called. Sorry.
It's a pay. It's a payment for responding to a call.
Volunteers.
Oh,
The $5.
It's a stipend,
Okay.
so they're not city employees technically. The association moves in and they go on.
They're protected by
Yeah.
certain.
We're back to that one. Okay.
What was the second one there, Craig? You said, say that one more the bathhouse?
Bathhouse at $10, I guess I'm fine if it's 10, but I'd be fine if it was 12 also. But I'm not going to argue about that one much. If we can get the people we need, then that's fine. I'm glad we moved the lifeguards up. 90% of the time, their job is pretty quiet, but the 10% is not. I'm glad the
I
lifeguards
think,
went up.
Amy's clarifying that the bathhouse employees are the 14-year-olds that we're allowed to hire.
Oh,
So,
okay.
They don't work as hard as everybody else.
no,
Okay.
That's what,
And they're limited on.
and they're limited.
their
on
responsibilities and requirements of the job are less than
Yes.
Yeah, the requirements.
other
of the
standard
job.
jobs.
That's
They're
a
just
great
not-
pay bump. I made
they're 14.
$4.25 when I worked.
425 is,
4.25.
Bathhouse?
Working slide.
And that's why he.
I think we should pay that if we can
That's why he
find people
started
to do it.
mowing the lawn.
Okay. Does anybody, is that it? Is that the extent of yours, or do you have more?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Does anybody else have concerns about what the staff has prepared and put together on the wages and ranges?
It's just ranges, yeah.
And the policies,
Okay, so then
Looks,
that
looks good. Wayne, Jerry likes,
cost of living.
Would you like a month?
Yeah, and then I think the other thing
Jerry
that
likes motions. so
I think the other thing to just touch on, I want to make sure that we publicly talk about it. Jerry's brought to my attention, reminded me. Notes, all full-time city employees will receive annual cost of living wage increases, so adjusting a little bit the way that the raises go is every employee gets the cost of living increase. Up to 3% is then additionally available for Performance.
Evaluation.
right? So the maximum increase in theory is somewhere around, 6% based on your cost of living factor, whatever COLA is in that. Maybe it's a hair above that in this day and age.
So the 3% is just the cost of living, and then do they get a merit?
They get the merit up to 3,
Up to three,
Potential.
all that. So
Yep.
maximum of 6.
like
Right.
whatever we determine the inflationary number is or what the standard is for that, but
Yep.
you get the cost of living and then you go 3, so you don't have anybody in a given time period that.
Right, and then returning seasonal employees could be eligible for a 50% or 50 cent increase.
Yep.
For those that return.
I'm good with those principles. All right, I heard you motion, Joel.
It was Julie's
Julie.
motion.
Move to
One
approve.
quick question, on that last one, Taylor. It
Yep,
would be really odd, but if somebody stayed with us for 20 years at 50 cents a year, I guess, I'm not sure where that ends up at, but
Within the market.
well,
Is
I
that-
think,
is that after 5 years that doesn't necessarily apply anymore?
I don't know, does the word eligible leave the final discretion to the
Oh,
city
okay.
council to approve?
Yeah, I missed the eligible word, so.
Yep, I think the eligible saves us there, Craig.
I second.
Okay, all right.
Second from Joel. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Discussion consideration of requesting city staff to publish notice for the public hearing on February 17th, 2026. Yep. Motion to publish the notice.
Publish.
Second from Russ.
Is that 6 o'clock? Is the time 6 o'clock?
The February 17th is actually an earlier time. It's
No, it's a 6.
right, it is the 6 o'clock?
Yeah,
Is it
for
the
the-
that's earlier?
The roles of city administrator, clerk, mayor is to publish notice for those amendments
Okay. For,
that are in the city's code of ordinances, so it's just a set of.
okay, to amend duties. Okay, this is for the code changes. Yep.
All those in those comments.
Yep, this is for the code changes on the roles. Okay. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Discussion and consideration of draft CIP budget property tax levy rates. Jerry provided a memo in there effectively.
Jerry and Lindsay.
Jerry and Lindsay together are noted as the providers of the memo, but really one of the big things, I guess, the question, help me, we had our 3 prioritized things. What I'm looking for in tonight's discussion with where we're at is effectively getting a little bit of direction from council as far as the levy rate that they want to do. I also would like to ask council to help give some staff direction related to reserve threshold. I think we need to determine that. Before we go, in order to, at the next meeting, have a little more clarity. In the memo, you'll note that there is the projection that includes capital projects and there's a projection excluding capital projects. Lindsay, could you pull this one up on the screen for me? I would ask you to just, look at those 2 together. The staff has worked really hard on the capital projects to adjust them, move them, do some things like that. But I think it's hard to make a final determination on capital projects right now. I like the budget without the capital projects in it and to see where we finish in terms of whether we have a surplus or a deficit, right? And when you look at that, projection excluding capital projects, you see a surplus. And so those would essentially be, undefined funds for capital projects. That could be deployed towards capital projects. If we define then what our reserve threshold is, that will give us a little bit of clarity as to what funds would be available for that. But ultimately, the first question in that is the levy. And you see the example on page 2 with no property tax increase, and then you have on 1 with the property tax levy increase. Does that make sense, guys? Effectively, the adjustments on the property tax adjustments that we're talking about here is, and Craig brought this up a year ago and when we were going through this exercise, but our liability, property, and self-insurance costs have an adjustment year over year. And that adjustment, our liability insurances
95,000.
are up to 95,000. And currently we're just levying 79,000, levying a rate to cover 79,000 of that. Then we also have the FICA and IPERS. Current costs is 111, and we are levying for 34,500. And our other employee benefits is
The first part was just for FICA and IPERS.
yeah, the first part was just FICA and IPERS. So we're spending, 111, and we're using the levy for 35 of that. The other portion of employee benefits, 95,900, and we're levying at 65,000. So when you see on the memo projection with the levy increase, that levy increase comes in those categories. A no increase levy for the city of Slater is 12.62848. The increase would be 13,92714.
And those are dollars per thousand of value.
Dollars per thousand of value. So $1.30 is the difference per thousand in valuation. We need to make a decision whether we want to not adjust the levy rates and leave it at the 12.62 and operate on that smaller surplus of 271, or increase the levy rate and operate with the surplus of 394. Keep in mind, that's no capital projects in that budget. This is really, really kind of bare bones operational. And some of the capital projects that were put together in this, you'll see are set and built for some basic maintenance items. So some of the things that were included in capital projects, Jerry, Lindsay, I know Mark, they've been working really hard to dwindle this list down because the number's so big, because we want so many things and need so many things. But a couple things, right, is some pool maintenance that's estimated in there is maybe needing to do. Water, replacing some hydrants and some water main fix, repair, updating. Some road, 4th Avenue, some improvements to streets, some stormwater intakes, and then some basic sewer maintenance, right? Like jetting, televising, doing some things like that to keep up on our infrastructure maintenance. Those are not included, right, at the excluding projections that they have there. So the question I have for you guys is, what do you want to do about the levy rate?
And again,
Public
you won't be officially taking action on this until the March 23rd meeting. But we have to get documentation to the Department of Management before March 5.
And this is just the city of Slater. Obviously, there'll be the county and the school that impacts the households. So I wouldn't want anybody to think that if we do the increase, that the only increase they're gonna see on their taxes is that $1.30 I just mentioned. There's no shortage in demand and need for capital for just basic infrastructure, let alone amenities and additional things. But I need council's direction on that. And Craig, you said you had a question, so we'll take that now.
Couple, I'm on the first page of Lindsay and Jerry's memo. Under liability, property, and self-insurance. We're collecting 80 grand and our cost is about 95. I would argue that one should perhaps go up. You said our cash reserves, but that's not rollover. That's general cash reserves rather than a rollover associated with insurance, correct?
It depends on what he wants to leave the tax rate. If that goes up, then we have to take it out of somewhere else.
Say, just go ahead and say it.
Yeah, speak.
So if you want that to go up, and it depends on if you want to keep taxes the same or raise them.
But this is one that doesn't count against our caps per se, or does it?
It does. All this counts towards our tax
Okay.
levy rate.
I
So
misunderstood
if
that.
you
I thought,
increase one, then you got to decrease one. If you want to leave taxes the same.
If
Legally,
you wanna leave them the same, but legally we can increase. them.
levy for whatever we need to pay the insurance premium for property insurance or the employee benefits, but we do have reserves.
Yep.
okay. But the insurance is not specific to this one. That's general reserves, correct? Instead of a specific rollover in that bucket.
I think, the rollover in that bucket, Fund 112, there is a balance in that,
But that's for employee FICA and IPERS and
Employee benefits.
employee
everything
benefits.
today.
That's
Yeah.
not for the liability and property self-insurance.
That's what I thought. We've been under collecting, so I thought that was zero.
Probably. That one is probably zero.
So FICA and IPERS, is that part of the employee benefits or is that a different bucket that we haven't been using?
Employee benefits.
It's the employee benefits line item.
Okay, so employee benefits, the FICA and IPERS and the other employee benefits are both under 112.
Correct.
Okay, so we got 215,000 in there.
Yep.
So that's part of the reason not to increase those until we whittle that 215,000 down to a more reasonable number, because previously we didn't allocate the benefit cost correctly. Yeah.
Correct. We had money in that fund. We're trying to use it up.
Okay, so the reason I want to clarify those first is I think based on our last vote on the lost, we need to make a decision about how we're going to deal with that and how we're going to show it here. We had, I believe, 67% of the people vote no because they wanted it the lost put directly against property tax relief. And so based on that, I was wondering if the best way to show that we're doing those efforts is to maximize the the insurance levy. Really not much we can do on FICA, IPERS, and employee benefits because we already have rollover in there, and bring down the general fund rate to reflect.
Based on the attorney's messaging back, we could still do these levies, the increased levies, and we could pass a resolution to use the local sales tax dollars towards a capital project to offset additional tax for that project, is the way I read the attorney's opinion. And that's what other cities have done in the instance, that it does not specifically have to be a levy rate change, as long as the funds are earmarked and dedicated to be utilized towards something that reduces additional tax increase.
And I read both those emails also. One seemed to lean towards yes, one seemed to lean towards no, but both of them, neither one of the opinions would they really say yes or no. So I think it was basically saying you can at your own risk. And I do believe that a lot of other towns are not using this directly on property tax relief. So I think we're in good company. It just depends upon what this council wants to do about how we show this. We had a pretty resounding vote, the no vote, and I want to reflect the community's opinion, the community's vote rather.
Well, my perspective would be the community's vote was a no vote to a specific project more so than the use of the local sales tax.
They may have misunderstood it that way, but that wasn't the vote. The vote is lost available for other things than property tax relief.
Specifically, a community center and library on Main Street was publicly stated. So I think the council question that Craig is asking is, do you want to reduce the levy, use local sales tax to offset the levy rate? Or do you want to use local sales tax to expend on pool resurfacing project instead of trying to bond for that, or a street project instead of trying to borrow money or bond for that?
And Lindsay, the amount that we're gonna probably get this year is approximately
250.
250,
Yeah.
260, and local option sales tax.
So, and Taylor, to reinforce what you're saying, yes, do I think that this will put us in potential hole? Yes, absolutely. I would like to maintain the services we have, and I'm leery that we will not be able to maintain those. But again, we report to the taxpayers and the voters, and that's I'm trying to keep my personal opinion about what we should have done out of there and respect what the vote was. So yes, do I think this will put us in a fiscal rough spot? Absolutely.
That's not my interpretation. I think we have clarity on how to utilize it. We can take action through resolution to do that. We've got demand for that and infrastructure improvements that would reduce the need to seek additional dollars in other places, or would reduce the amount needed from other places, essential or non-essential bonds. We could reduce the amount that we'd need by utilizing those funds and earmarking them via resolution. I see it that the tool's there still, and we can still adjust the levy rates if we want. As a property owner, I don't want my taxes to go up along with my water rates and my sewer rates and my garbage rates and my new recycling rate. But I think a lot of residents also want to see some of those major improvements be made. And we've all seen the CIP plan. What was the total on the first go through and capital improvement projects? 8 million, 9 million?
It's currently around 9 million total.
In capital projects identified today. So if we use this to reduce the levy rate and we seek capital projects, we'll have to seek those through essential bonds, or again, the non-essential bonds that will go to the ballot box to fund those things. Or local sales tax dollars would impact some of that if we applied those towards those instead of.
So if we go back to the 3 areas. Just go back to that alone and deal with those. As I understand it, we could increase the liability, property and self-insurance levy because we're not collecting enough. The other 2, we do have reserve funds at the moment.
Correct.
So to me, it would make sense to increase that particular one and then monitor those retained funds and increase those in the next several years slowly so that we catch up, that we're covering those expenses every year. 'Cause we need to take advantage of that levy opportunity to make other funds available. Does that make sense? Rather than doing it all in one.
Are you
year.
touching on the FICA and IPERS?
Yes, rather than doing
Yeah.
all of them in 1 year. We could phase it in over the next 3 years and use those retained earnings.
Yep. Lindsay, were you able to do any projections on
I just thought of that. I forgot.
on what the impact is on a?
Mhm.
It's like on a house that's around 200,000, I think the difference was around $260.
I needed that. I mean, that's
That's for doing all of them at once.
No, I'm just talking about an increase versus no increase.
A $300,000 house would see an annual increase of $390. If you went to the,
If we went to the full levy
Maximum.
on all 3 of them.
yep. We'd have to adjust, obviously, like Craig's point about the attorney on the local sales tax is. If it's to be used for property tax relief, we're gonna have to define what that usage is gonna be and how it's, that it's being used so that we don't borrow more money or we don't
Right.
bond for more money. We do have to designate that as a process. But that's what, at a $300,000 house, which I don't know, is a ranch in Slater, 325 these days, or?
It's gonna hit most of them.
Everybody's gonna be hit by it. It's,
Just for a bit of clarity to the new council in particular, the FICA and IPERS levy and the other employee benefits. I don't know if you've got the printout from Lindsay available, but she has a employee benefits. It's 112. Unfortunately, we collected and didn't apply the money correctly. But since we're a cash business, we can't go backwards and correct that. So we have 200,000, 215,000, I believe, in rollover funds that the only place they can be used is for the employee benefits, the two line items, IPERS and FICA IPERS and employee benefits. So while it'd be great to maximize that also in the short term until we burn up that $215,000 that we kind of inappropriately gathered over the last few years, there's not a lot of point in increasing that particular levy until we start whittling it down. And if you guys got questions, since I'm doing this remote, Lindsay can probably answer them, but that's the reason I wasn't suggesting increasing that. I do agree with Sue, right seat, wrong person, with Julie, that increasing our insurance levy to the max would be, I think, appropriate to cover what we have not been covering in the past.
When you forecast that line item, that 112 line item to be expelled, that employee benefits?
It depends how much we collect. Sorry, was that a question for Lindsay? She's probably better to answer.
Here's a Lindsay question. How much is in the reserve actually to support the employee benefit costs?
Shows 212 on the sheet.
Yeah, so after next year's, you're looking at maybe only like 25,000 left in there at the end of next year.
Next fiscal year?
So if we increase the insurance and liability to 95,000, which is what we need, it's gonna raise the tax rate to 12.79200.
Or $48 on a $300,000 house annually.
Okay.
Yep. The employee benefits, though, keep in mind, we're gonna collect
Only 100.
sorry, the FICA and IPERS is what I'm looking at. You're gonna collect 34,000 and you're gonna spend spend 111,000.
But we have
Reserve.
reserve funds there.
Correct.
For at least a year.
Yep. We're
You
short
kind of
of
got to roll them. Yeah, you kind of got to roll those two together, correct?
correct.
So we're actually we're generating about 100 grand and we're spending about 200 grand, a little over.
Correct.
Okay.
207, yeah. So I hear liability levy only from Julie. Craig.
Is that still trying to do the capital projects or?
Well, all that does,
Looking at this, yes.
not there yet,
No.
not yet that, because once you determine your levy rate, right, then we can determine what a deficit or surplus there is.
Yep.
Then I'm asking you guys to help tonight give direction on what you want from a reserve standpoint. That way Lindsay and Jerry can come back to us at the next meeting with a lot more clarity about what capital, unallocated capital funds could be utilized.
Increasing FICAs and IPERS doesn't give us any more funds because it can only be used for that.
Correct.
Right.
So that doesn't give us any more money to spend out of the projects next year.
He's talking about pulling money out of cover some of the capital projects.
No, you're right, though. Her point is just,
Right.
if you choose to increase that levy rate, it doesn't help your budget in a way that gives more capital dollars in your budget this year.
Right.
Yeah.
Because those funds will go into those exclusive accounts to only be exuded on those exclusive items.
Yes, those aren't.
So it doesn't better position you. It just builds a bigger reserve. So that's very good points. I think the logic makes sense. And then if you get to the point where you're not sitting on a reserve or you have a small reserve in those accounts, in theory, you levy what your expense is every year, and that's just what you do.
Let's use our retained earnings.
But we need to get closer to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're sitting on $200,000. Let's use that and not build that reserve more.
Correct.
Right.
That would be my.
I agree with that.
that-
Joel agrees, Julie agrees, Craig was on board with that, I'm pretty sure.
That number, isn't it?
Yeah.
Russ is on board.
That'd be the new number, if you guys are okay with it.
$48.
Yeah. So everybody can just own it.
So we're saving them $200 off at the moment.
Goes from 12.62848 to 12.79200.
All right. So that's good. We've got that and I'm seeing consensus here.
Yep.
How much of a reserve? We don't have a policy today to say what our reserve needs to be. There is a recommendation, I think.
It took on all the cap
Percentage.
But did you guys make a recommendation on reserve in the memo?
Mhm.
Did you add that in there?
Yeah, we said like 60, at least retain 60% for 1 year's operating, which gives us about over 800.
Yep. Okay, so the next question I have for council is just from the perspective of setting or giving some guidance on what type of reserve fund we would want to keep. Now, keep in mind, if we separate these, we have enterprise accounts like our water and our sewer, right, that generate revenue. Well, not really. We've operated pretty close to a break even on those accounts. And have historically, try to keep it as fair as possible. Now, so then you start to think about those accounts as being somewhat self-sustaining. And you think about your expenses, your budget, your annual costs out of the general fund. And reserving what those are. And what amount of that do you need? So I think that Jerry and Lindsay have laid out here. Their recommendation is 60 to 65%.
Which covers about 1 year of operation.
Which covers about 1 year of operation.
Just general.
Based on what those totals are. And we shared it on the first page of the memo, right? The first page of the memo, right? We shared. Sorry, guys, lots of numbers.
That's
Available cash reserves, 1.8525 unallocated capital in the general fund. 542 of lost. For a total of 2,395,000 in unallocated general fund capital. The total operating general fund, right? So this is what we're spending a year from the general fund is 1.469736 million. Lindsay and Jerry have made the recommendation to reserve 60 to 65% of that. At 1.556878. Balance of 838,320 in unallocated available for capital projects and balances.
plus if you take of course, we changed the projection, but that's what it was.
So I just want to track here though, because I thought the general fund, you're saying annual, we pull 1,469,736 out. We spend that out of the general fund every year.
Correct.
For operating.
And you're saying to reserve 60 to 65%, but you're saying that number is 1.5. That would be 100 and some percent of the general fund expenses. Right?
What I rate it is
60% would be 1,469.
Wouldn't that be of the
Of
2.3?
2,295,000,
But-
65.
But you're setting the reserve on the big bucket of money of the bucket, the total bucket. You're
Correct.
not setting it on expenses. You're setting a reserve based on cash balance instead of setting a reserve based on
You're right.
expenses.
You're
Right?
right.
We would want a reserve based on expenses.
Correct.
So we would want to reserve 65% of 1.469, leaving the remaining balance as deployable capital project.
Do they want
Monies.
60% or do they want 1 year's operating expense?
Well, they're saying
I get where they're coming up with 15 or 1.5.
60 to 65 is what mine says 65 is still the version, and they put 1.5, which is 65 of that number.
Right.
I'm suggesting, why wouldn't the 65 or 60 be of that number? Cause you're gonna collect more taxes next year.
881,000 should be the reserve amount.
1.8 is your general expenses.
1.8,
Mhm.
1.4. Where's the 1 point?
We did
Total operating general fund, 1.469736.
That's based on,
Cause I thought the
The cash
question was
reserve.
how much of the reserve.
Wait a second.
this is
Was the
expensive.
question is of the reserves for, from the general
Yeah.
fund, how much to retain?
I think she's taken out the capital projects in terms of the general fund. When she says 1.8, I believe that includes the capital project number. But when you take that out on your, just your general fund expenses, it's the 1,469, right? Cause you're not thinking about the capital projects in your reserve number, cause you're gonna fund those out of other places through a strategy in the CIP plan.
Yeah.
These are the ones you're gonna have to spend, and that's gonna inflate every year by a little amount, but you're always gonna be recuperating that in theory. Depending on the state legislature. Your enterprise accounts are gonna sustain themselves and have some reserves there. And you charge a rate to hopefully build reserve to make improvements and replacement there. So the question just becomes how much of what your general fund expenses are, do you wanna have sitting in the bank account to protect you from the unexpected?
I think the 60 to 65% is probably an okay number. I've always been under the impression it was closer to like 25 to 50%, but
Well, it was.
I
of
think
the
you want
reserves, how
somewhere
much
between
should it
6 months and a year's worth of reserve
Yeah.
funds for,
I would agree with that just with what's going on.
that was
in
65,
legislature.
75% seems
I-
reasonable to me.
And I think we have the luxury of making that decision because we have the cash to make that decision. But we need to make that, we need to make some guidance on that decision so they can give us some better clarity so that we can actually look at a CIP plan to use it.
My concern is, yes, right now we're cash flush. I realize that we've always said that our enterprise funds have a consistent cash flow to go with them. So we don't have to worry about those as much. You can also say the same thing about our property tax. I've seen the same thing as AJ just said, that 25 to 50%. I guess I would rather apply that across all of our expenses rather than just our general fund expenses. And so I guess the number I'm comfortable with is 50% of the 4 million we spend every year. So that's $2 million in reserves for any type of expense that comes across. If we have a horrible depression and people stop paying their water and sewer bills, if our tax collections go down, whatever the case may be, if I would rather be able to run the place for 6 months, period, even though it does tie up a lot of cash, 2 million in cash that we're tying up. I guess I would feel more comfortable at that level. And I know a lot of places don't run that. They run closer to the 25%.
He's saying across the board, so that would include all our reserves for our enterprise accounts as well?
He's looking at total expenses, reserving total expenses across all.
Right.
He's basically reserving under an assumption you could not have those revenues. If you didn't have those revenues, you would your reserve's gonna get eaten. Your 800, 900 grand will get eaten up quick.
Yep.
If
And that's
you're
why I was, yeah.
water and
08,
those things.
Yeah, 08, 09 kind of crash that we can run everything we need to run, enterprise funds and general expenses, we can run for 6 months. And I know that leans towards the personal account also, but it seems like us being able to say, we don't care what happens outside of our control. We can continue to run the town for 6 months.
Well, you can't, the only problem with that, Craig, is you can't mix those funds.
Right.
The enterprise funds have to be used for enterprise things, the general fund has to be used for general funds, and you can't fund water and sewer with general fund money, or you'll have to raise your water rates even more to cover it anyway, because you have to have 110% income on the enterprise funds.
We've effectively been not doing that, and we actually can move money out of enterprise. It just takes a council action to do it.
Well, as a taxpayer, I've been paying my sewer bill, my water bill. You better keep that money in there to fix them, because I don't want my rates to go up.
There's also surplus transfer requirements that make it pretty difficult
Yeah.
to pull enterprise funds into general fund.
Yeah, you can't-
And you
you can't
run into
do
a
it
lot of
just-
legal issues if you're looking at, if you're running in the black constantly and you have enough money to pull into general fund, it's actually against the law.
Yeah.
So, surplus transfer requirements is a whole nother ballgame, and it's very uncommon to see somebody transfer enterprise funds into general fund. Very uncommon.
Very.
I'd say the council does not have the
Appetite.
appetite to start drawing money out of our enterprise fund.
And I don't think that was a
And I'm not saying
suggestion.
on a regular basis, I'm talking that really bad things happen, and that's why I was suggesting 6 months of we can keep this town running no matter what.
Well, and I would just say, I don't think we've really done that math necessarily. Remember, we're just talking about the general fund bucket there that is on this sheet, right? So the general available cash reserve, that's just a general fund cash reserve, right?
Mhm.
There's still reserves in the enterprise account. So we may be actually reserving to closer to that 2 million. We'd have to do the math on what the enterprise reserves are.
They're already over 2 million.
But we're gonna exude some of it, right, to pay a bill. And so if the enterprise funds are reserved sufficiently and you reserve 65% of the general fund, then in theory, right, would you not be reserving
You're
that
gonna be
amount?
slightly over
Yeah.
2 million.
Right.
And
So you're
Yes, and-
okay with the general fund separate? We're gonna keep the enterprise funds the way they are, reserved that way, and they should maintain that, right, in theory? Unless
Yeah,
you
as
hit
long
the
as the-
window you're talking about.
Yes, and that's all I'm looking at is I don't care which bucket is in, but making sure we have 6 months worth of operating expense. Whether we have
Okay.
to run the sewer from our sewer holdover, whatever the case may be, but I know there's rules, but if things really got that bad that we had no income at all, my guess is we would be allowed to bend the rules, or we would just bend the rules. So yes, I'm looking at total funds available for worst cases happen. Because I've looked at some of the other towns around, and there's places that are down to a grand total of all of their funds. They're in the 300 to 400,000 area. And that would make me extremely nervous if something bad were to happen again, 08, 09 kind of crash.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're kind of all saying the same thing. I think that I'm hearing 60 or 65% of that number effectively. Craig's saying 50%. If you have 50% across the board, are you good? Do you want 50% of the general fund? And to understand how much is on the enterprise?
I would like to see, there's talk of a water plant expansion. I think it would be smart to get something set up in a separate fund that, doing these rate increases and everything else. That's gonna come down the pipeline. I think it would be smart to have, okay, here's your enterprise, extra revenue or extra bucket.
Retained earnings.
Your retained earnings, we'll say, for your capital improvements down here is. This
whole new-
line item is only for expansion. When you get to the point where you go for a bond, you've got some dollars there and we don't have to increase by 25% to be able to do a water plant expansion. So that's where I would like to see some of those reserve funds go and not bring, that's not even part of your 25 to 50% or 65, whatever the number we're talking. That's not even part of it. That's completely separate. That's not touching.
Yeah, I think we're kind of, and we could go on a long time. I think I'm hearing the 50% or the 60% number is a number that everybody's comfortable with being the reserve threshold.
General fund,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
For enterprise, I think it could run a little lower. As long as you're putting that other money
Yeah.
aside to somewhere else.
And I definitely agree with that. I think there's two schools of thoughts on, public finance like this. And the one is, it's great that you save money to do things like this. But I think one of the frustrations that, here is we've saved and saved and saved and things, we haven't done those maintenances or those things over the year. And so now you have a situation where we're at, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but there's residents here that paid into those funds all those times and never saw the infrastructure or benefit of their tax dollars. So we gotta have the right balance. And I think we're kind of establishing that through the reserves. And then I think the other thing we remember in, the public finance standpoint is like, if we need a water plant, if we find out we need a water plant, we have resources to get that water plant. Is it gonna tax the residents and cost all of us money to do that? Yes. But the balance and the strategy to borrow the money, put whatever cash reserve you do have, bond for differences, and then outside grant dollars, those type of things. There's kind of a balance to how much do you save. And I think that's one of the things like the fire truck, I know the fire department wants. Man, there's been a capital outlay for a long time saving for a fire truck, and still not close to it. Is that a project you just bond for from a philosophical standpoint? Because you have to have it, you need it.
You're gonna have to, because their reserves are part of that rollover capital that you're in your general fund. And you've already taken away all.
The city rollover funds that departments were saving away.
Save for a fire truck, it's not gonna go to the fire department, it's gonna.
No, that's not true. If the fire truck's on the capital improvement plan, then it's gonna get paid for through the capital improvement
He's saying
plan.
that what we, in the past, whatever we didn't spend out of the budget
Would roll.
went over to a rollover, we were told,
Yeah,
rollover CIP fund. So say our budget was 25,000, we spent 10, that 15,000 went into a capital outlay rollover fund.
Yeah, that's no longer.
Yeah.
yeah.
Along with whatever you put in there for, if you said $25,000 for a new truck. For the last 5 years, that whatever, $250,000 or whatever, it's up to me. It's not there, it's part of this check. And if your project is not on capital improvement.
Correct.
Same with the.
At the direction of the taxpayers.
Or else, same with the library, same with public works. It's not there.
It's not there, but on the other hand, saving for 10 years for a fire truck, the fire truck now costs more and you're never gonna catch up with it, and it's always gonna cost more than what you save. Unless
Absolutely.
they get a budget that's double what they need, which would be foolish on our part to give them a budget double of what they need.
We're still having the needs that departments on the capital improvement plan don't have dates on them, don't have areas.
Well, we're trying to get there. This is exactly what we're doing. We're trying to get there because we had let people.
We did our capital.
We let people, we couldn't because we've never defined Chad the Reserve. That's exactly the activity we're going through is frustrating for you. I understand because you feel like you've been strategic with the EMS's money and now you feel like the city's taking that money from you.
What bothers me as a department head is the fact that there are projects from other departments on the capital improvement plan that we did 4 months ago, and the EMS ones still don't have priorities on them. That's my problem as a department.
What item on the list?
Our building that we
The
have.
building, okay, a major project, $1 million project, multi-million-dollar project.
Absolutely.
Okay, I don't think we've approved that we're spending any money on any multi-million-dollar project. We're trying to work through that, and the way that you have to work through that is you have to actually determine how much money you actually can deploy for capital projects.
So you don't have any multi-million-dollar projects on that capital improvement plan with a date on it.
There might be a date on them, Chad, but that's a working document. That's a working document.
Only 7, no.
We have to build the
Or-
budget.
Sorry, we go back to our discussions. I mean, I understand there's a discussion, but can the council go back to our actions?
You guys take the action. I'm ready for it.
I would go with the 65%, but I understand that there's a lot of people who want 60, but I would go with the 65% because I want to make sure that when that horrible thing happens or something goes wrong, we can maintain this city as we know it with the services that we have.
Julie, just for clarification, 65% of general fund or 65% of total expenses?
65% of the general fund.
Okay.
I'm good.
AJ?
I'm good for now. I think that
Let's just,
might change in the future.
we're just giving direction.
It's for this,
What we're doing.
for now, I think it's good.
And we'll get,
Well, I don't know enough
Additional
about
information
everything
for you.
to really
You
say.
have to give us all the numbers.
Right,
Okay.
I can't say for
So-
certain, no, I
so you'll operate-
disagree with this.
Based on the levy that we talked about, you'll make the assumption on the reserves. And you'll be prepared in February to show us what then the
Right.
unallocated capital is available to deploy towards the CIP. At that point, then we can make some strategic decisions about timing and project
Big projects, little.
qualification,
Project.
project timing, qualification, whatever. through that process, and that'll give us clarity on these two things. But it helps us get to the levy rate that we know, so we can do the publishing and those things.
We also get it separated with enterprise
Yes.
Yep.
and general funds.
Yep.
We can-
Yeah, have you seen that
That sheet
one?
right there.
It's in that.
It's already there.
That's just our base.
Okay. We could get that. Go ahead, Craig.
So the document that we have to submit for I can't remember the title for it, the fiscal year report that we have to have approved by the taxpayers. When does that have to go forward? Before or after the February meeting?
Well, at the next meeting, we definitely need direction because we need to submit documentation to the Department of Management by March 5.
So are we saying the tax rate at what?
We're saying the tax rate as adjusted with the 95,000 on liability for the 12.9.
Yeah, they're the same.
The correction you did, 12.9. Where'd you do it out?
12.79200.
Yep.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a
Sorry.
slight increase.
Yep. And
So
that
we're
number is 65.
66.
We're not approving, we're giving guidance. We're approving next.
Right, you're
meeting.
giving guidance.
We're essentially giving them the guidance to prepare it as if it's the 12.92.
Okay,
Increasing the levy rate for the liability and not adjusting it for any of the employee benefits.
all right. I don't agree. I'm 1 out of 5. I realize that. We haven't seen a budget for this year, income expense. We haven't seen any of this stuff's rolling up. So I guess I'm not entirely comfortable saying
This
that
is just guidance.
this is the status until we see those things that are associated with this.
We will, we're not approving anything tonight. This is just guidance for our staff to put together the package for us to approve.
Okay, so this packet doesn't have to go to the press and be publicized and all those things yet.
No.
March.
Okay. That's what I was trying to ask is when does this have to go forward? Because it has to be approved by March 5th, but I thought there was meeting dates and publications and all those things before that. So I misunderstood.
It'll be coming.
Yep, there is. I will
Okay.
just clarify, the projections that they put in the memo, those are worked up through the budgeting process, and they do have budget numbers in places and categories. That's how we arrived at, right?
Right, because currently.
When
we're
I say
showing
we, that's how
a
you guys
deficit of-
arrived
But we
at this,
haven't-
right?
But we haven't
You-
seen that,
I did the expenditures.
correct? I didn't miss anything. We have not seen budget yet.
You've seen the expenses, not the revenue.
You've seen the expenses. We've gone through the
I thought I saw
expenses. at the
expenses
last
in
meeting.
process. I didn't know that was
January.
finalized.
I think it's pretty pinned down.
Pretty finalized, minus a couple things.
All right, so I would like to see final before we approve the final documents for property taxes.
Right.
Okay. Okay, that addresses all those items, I think, and you both have some clarity on direction to be,
Wait till the
to be
next
prepped
meeting
for.
about capital projects. then.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we have to, because we just don't have clarity on them. Okay, the last item here is the Story County Housing Trust Fund. What this is, I'm gonna give a really quick oversight. This was brought to us by MIPA and Ames Economic Alliance. There's a fund through the Story County Trust Fund, Story County Housing Trust, that can be applied for as a city. It's a fund that's utilized for low income, low to moderate income property repairs that can benefit the individual property owner.
And we'd be applying for a grant up to $100,000.
The grant would essentially think of as it would be grantable dollars that we would have access to for residents who came in to the city. We have several on the nuisance list right now that have siding missing, things like that, that have expressed financial restrictions or abilities to make those repairs. The funds would be available through an application and income verification process to help those individuals that qualify make those improvements to their property. The question here really is, it's a no-brainer in my mind up to that point. The question and the approval we wanted from council is you have to administer the program, and the administration with the program is the income verification and the paperwork process of the individuals that may apply. Collins does it in-house, and apparently it works good. We have the option to use MIPA, Mid-Iowa Planning Association, who we're a part of, or Alliance, who we're a part of. But their cost to administer it is 15% of the grantable dollars. So if somebody comes in and wants $10,000, there'd be a $1,500 cost for the city to have it administered. Or we try to administer it in-house. The one positive thing is the administration fee can be funded through the LMI funds that we have that are fairly restricted right now, and we don't have great policies or direction on how to use those funds. We might not get a single one, we might get a bunch. But we want the green light to, I believe, move forward with applying for the grant dollars. If we don't use them, we're not penalized. There's no penalty or problem. They'd just be available for us, reserved for our community. The administration, we could sort out, and Jerry and staff can do some research on what Collins does, what their process is. But we just wanted.
Is this a one-time $100,000? To be used over any period of time?
I think it's annual.
I think it's an annual figure.
Okay, so we'd get that.
We would apply,
You'd
we'd
have
have
to
to apply for it.
We may not get 100,000.
Yeah, they can say no, depending on the other applicants. This is for, again, owner occupied repairs,
Mhm.
to clarify,
There's no-
right?
There's no matching requirements. This is just county money, no, okay. I'm supportive. I would actually be supportive of MIPA doing it for this year to help us get over the bridge of learning what we have to do. But I would certainly defer to Lindsay if that's a workload she's not worried about of kind of creating the wheel. Otherwise, I don't mind paying MIPA to teach us year one if that is a way to do it, since we can use LMI money to pay for the.
You're just asking us to approve the application tonight, right?
That we're, yeah, you're aware of this program, you want to move forward with it. It makes sense and we want to move forward to it.
Right now, we'll talk about that once we know we get the money.
We can cross that bridge later, but I just want you to know on the front end that, like, if they look into it and they say, hey, we can't do this, we have applications, the cost would be, if all exuded, $15,000 out of our LMI fund. So I just want you to know that risk on the backside
$15,000
for $100,000 in improvements.
that our staff wouldn't have to do.
Right. I make a motion to approve the application for this grant.
Second. Perfect. All those in favor signify with the sign aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Question. So where did you land on the tax levy rate? About half of what was originally posted up there, is that right? Instead of one.
So it went from 12.62 to 12.79 was our recommendation. That's what we're recommending them to go ahead with.
So
We're
we're
on-
on $50 per house than 400.
$48 per house
Per house.
Versus like
Per
$320.
$1,000.
versus 240.
Is it $240?
Yeah.
8, I think.
Yeah, but three's the average price of the house.
Yeah, it's gonna be a
So
certain
two
fee
is
versus
two's a good-
$48 on a $300,000 house. And we only did that on the line item for the liability insurance. And we use the employee benefit
Right.
reserves to offset
So
that.
knowing you're looking at another property tax increase probably next year for the FICA.
Right.
And all of this is gonna include a capital improvement
Eventually.
levy. Even for this coming year,
There's no capital improvement levy.
but that's what you're not taking out of this and looking at.
All I was doing was when Jerry and Lindsay showed me that memo the first time, they showed me the budget as if we were doing 400 and some $1,000 in capital projects. And I said, wait, separate that and just show us the operational first. Cause maybe this council won't approve some of those capital projects. We got to just look at it operational. So that was the difference between those two. We'll use then the surplus from whatever surplus is generated on the levy rate minus our expenses, our revenues minus our expenses. What's that pot of money? We've set a reserve threshold. We'll look at those funds and we'll say, okay, now how do we digest 8 million on capital needs? Do we, and what gets next, what gets prioritized, how, when? And then you'll have to fold in the outside sources, grants.
I just wanted to understand.
Yep. Yeah.
It's 16 cents per thousand increase. 40, would you say 48?
Yeah.
$49.
But that'll put us in a position where without any capital projects being executed, there will be a surplus in what we collect versus what we expend, but it's not a significant amount. as it relates to like the basic capital maintenance things that we probably need to do with streets, roads, water, sewer, let alone physical projects of amenities or improvements, or R 38 or
About the $400 house
those things.
yeah, originally up there, and all of that, regardless of what you do, the levy that you're doing is based on what the property value is now. When they reassess, I mean, the city gets calls every year at how much their property taxes went up
Yep.
when the levy rate went down.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that we didn't dwell on a long time, the valuation went up 9% in the city of Slater. The legislature caps our increase at 3%.
Especially at the time of.
So we're not even capturing, we're missing out on a 6% of what the actual taxable increase was. So it's us in that spot where now you look at the levy rate, as you know very well. With plenty of needs for capital. Wants
No,
and
right,
needs.
I just know the resident, when you look at what your property tax goes up.
Yeah,
That's all anybody looks at is the bottom line of how much.
totally.
Right.
And I can tell you, I got a text that the school board approved the $7,500, but the superintendent made sure to make some notes about that the intention is to bond for a new field in the future as soon as it's financially responsible. And it would be irresponsible to not look at alternative options to the Nighthawk. So. But they did approve our deal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thanks for joining, Craig.
You bet.
See you guys. Have a good
You
night.
have this time